We are live. It's Eagles game day, Thursday. Chickies and Pete's, Atlantic City. What's going on? The Sports Bash, 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, and live video streaming on the X platform and on YouTube at Mike Gill Show. Well, we made it. We made it, everybody. It's Eagles game day. Can you believe it? They play tonight, Thursday night football. The Eagles and the Cowboys will kick off the 2025 season, and we have it for you right here on 97.3 ESPN. I'm your host, Mike Gill. Pete G is my on-site producer. Josh Henning is back at the Ocean Casino Resort Studios, and you out there. Well, I'm looking at the unbelievable amount of TVs here at Chickies and Pete's, and they have an empty stadium with Sal Paolantonio on the television. He's on TV right now. He'll be on the radio with me at 5 o'clock tonight, and you can hear that right here on 97.3 ESPN. So we've made it. We have gone through the summer, the spring, and the long months of waiting for football, but it all returns with the defending champion Philadelphia Eagles back in action tonight. And I'll tell you what, a lot of times you wait for the storylines to kind of emerge when the Eagles play the Cowboys. It might be week 6 and week 14 or week 10 and week 16, and then you could see where these two teams are. And usually in the last couple of years, it has been a situation where one quarterback's been hurt. You got Jalen Hurts against Cooper Rush, or you got Cooper Rush against Kenny Pickett, or some sort of scenario where the two quarterbacks aren't healthy enough to play each other. Not tonight. These two teams at optimal health, and the defending Super Bowl champions kick off their season with the banner, the passion, the energy that will be in Lincoln Financial Field will be second to none. It is truly going to be an unbelievable night. By the way, the one thing that we should watch with this game tonight is the Dallas Cowboys and how they kind of handle the energy and all the passion inside Lincoln Financial Field. We know the Eagles have kind of shrugged it off. They won't be out there. The banner night, didn't even know about it, according to Nick Sirianni. But as we get ready for the game tonight, we're going to break it all down from every single advantage and angle that you come to expect here on the Sports Bash. Here's the particulars for today's show. Pete G, today on the show, Ross Tucker at 2:30. Ross Tucker from Westwood One. He is calling the game nationally on the radio tonight. We'll hear from Ross Tucker, who, of course, does all the Eagles preseason games on television. So he has seen this Eagles team in person 3 times already this year.
Although he did not see Jalen Hurts or Saquon Barkley take a snap or a handoff, A.J. Brown catch a pass.
He didn't see any of those guys.
None of that.
You're right about that. But Ross Tucker will join us at 2:30 today. 4 o'clock, Andrew DiCecco will join us for today's football at 4 with everything that he's looking at. Remember, Andrew has been at every practice, every preseason game, and all the training camp. He has seen it all, and now he's ready to tell us all of the things that he has learned about this team heading into the 2025 season. Also today, we're looking forward to Sal Paolantonio at 5 o'clock with a live hit from Lincoln Financial Field. You don't want to miss a Sal Pal Thursday today, as he is live actually on television right now on SportsCenter. And he has, see what's that, the Philadelphia Daily News in his hand there? It looks like he's got the Daily News in his hand. So we'll get Sal Pal's takes coming up at 5 o'clock tonight. And then it is the return of One Thought every game, Casey Joyner. He is back on the Sports Bash Live. So let's get into all of that and more today on the show. You guys looking at this Eagles team. Number one, first thing I want to ask everybody, text in 609-403-0973. I actually have a couple questions. Poll question up at Mike Gill Show. You can vote over there, and I hope you do. At Mike Gill Show, you can watch the show. The poll question's up. What are you doing for the Eagles-Cowboys game tonight? Watching at home? Going out to a bar? Watching at a friend's house? Going to the game? Let us know at Mike Gill Show. We are live at Chickies and Pete's, so you are invited to come here and watch the game with us because the Phillies play at 4 o'clock today. More on them coming up in just a couple of moments here. 2, are you going to a friend's house? 3, you going out to a bar? 4, are you watching at home? PG, your answer is?
I'm going to watch at home. Now, did you mention going to the game?
I did. That is one of them.
Okay, that's one of them. No, I'm going to watch at home.
So you're going to – so the Thursday night nature of it is you're going to watch at home. But it's the first game of the year.
It is.
Right? It's the first game of the years. and you want to have that feeling of like, you want to watch it with others or you just want to kind of watch it at home. So vote now at Mike Gill Show right now.
See, I'm like that anyway, though. I need to be alone with my own thoughts, my own emotions.
Yeah.
I can't have any distractions.
I'm a solo game watcher.
Good. Yeah,
I usually will watch by myself, so I will be watching at home tonight. Now, 90% right now voting, 90% are watching at home, okay? 8% say they're going out to the bar. 8% are going out to the bar. 2% right now said they're watching at a friend's house. And nobody is going to the game tonight so far. Nobody is going to the game,
Wow.
according to the voters at Mike Gill Show. Vote over there. The other question I have for the people as we get this show started. Do you like playing the Cowboys in the first game? Do you like the fact that it's Eagles-Cowboys week 1? What do you think?
I think with what happened last year, because they won the Super Bowl and they're the defending champions, they're going to lower the banner tonight at the Link. Thursday Night Football, first game of the year. I like it that it's the Cowboys.
So you like the fact that an Eagles-Cowboy week is happening right out of the chute?
Right out of the chute.
Okay. See what the people think. 609-403-0973. What are you doing for the game tonight? Do you like the fact that it's Eagles-Cowboys?
I mean, if it was Eagles-Lions, would you feel any differently? Or Eagles
well, it's the fact that it's the opening week, so it doesn't matter who the Eagles were playing. You would be excited about the game, right? It's the fact that it's like one of the games that you look forward to all year, and you're getting it right away. But normally that's the game that you're like, man, I can't wait to that game, whenever that game may be. You're getting it right out of the chute. I think if you played Eagles-Denver tonight, you would feel just as jacked up about the game as if it's Cowboys or no. Am I wrong about that?
I mean, maybe a little bit less, but still, I mean, you're still going to be jacked up for it, right? I mean,
No matter who it is, exactly.
no matter who it is.
Yeah.
Like last year it was Kansas City, Baltimore. That game's got some meaning to it, whether it's week 1 or week 17.
Jeff's watching on the YouTube channel. He says, I will be in the house, section 136. Can't wait. Go Birds. All right, Jeff. Have a good time tonight. Section 136 for the Eagles and the Cowboys tonight. How many people go into the game tonight in the listening audience? Because I will say, for the people going to the game tonight, the gates are open. They're opening the gates, they said, at 1:30 today. So you can get up there and tailgate a little earlier. But, FanDuel bailed them out.
Good job on them, actually.
They
the
bailed
entire
out
city
the
out,
SEPTA the situation. So they're going to be having SEPTA trains running free from halftime to the end of service so that you can get home. So the traffic is not going to be quite as bad, but they're opening up the stuff. So let us know on the text board, 609-403-0973. Josh on the Parkway says, I'm working till 7, then sitting on the couch with a Corona. I like that, Josh. Thursday night, I'm making pizza and wings at home. Probably see my pops, have a few shots with my pops pregame, and talk ball. See, that's the kind of night you need right there,
That's a
right?
good night right there. That's a good pregame night, and then you get into the game.
Terry in Galloway says, Mike, I picked up a 30 box of Old Milwaukee Light, and I'm ready to go. Between you and me, I may have already cracked into a few.
I want that guy.
Birds.
I want him to text in tomorrow and let us know if he finished that 30-pack, how many he got through. That's what I want.
You want an official count.
Yes.
What's your over-under?
He already started, he said. So
It says between you and me, I may have already started.
all right, so we'll give him maybe 3 or 4 now.
We'll see what Terry and Galloway's texts look like throughout the
Yeah,
show.
I'm going to go 22.
Oh, wow. You believe 22 Miller,
Old
Milwaukee's?
Yeah.
Ooh. Terry, I don't know if an Old Milwaukee's the perfect beer today. The Phillies are playing the Brewers.
Oh, yeah, it could be bad juju right there.
So let's transition over to that. The Phillies lineup is out, and the Phillies lineup is brought to you by Instant Services, South Jersey's premier HVAC, plumbing, electrical service provider. Go to instantservices.com to learn about their preventative maintenance memberships and how they can help your systems running strong year-round. The Phillies lineup today, a little surprise for me, and I'll tell you where. Turner, Schwarber, Harper, Real Muto,
No surprises there.
Marsh, Bader, Kepler, Bohm, Stott. That's the lineup tonight.
Bohm's way down there. Huh?
Now, that's one thing that has my eyes opened, and I like that. I have a couple things on the lineup, okay? One, Castellanos is not in the lineup today. Now, why is that relevant to this conversation? Let me explain, okay? Nick Castellanos, if they're just going off of analytics and just going off the numbers, Nick Castellanos is 7 for 19 with a home run against Freddie Peralta. I mean, that's pretty good numbers, right?
Yeah.
7 for 19 with a homer against Freddie Peralta today, whereas, and that's, that's about 370. Brandon Marsh is 0 for 4. So I figured the lineup today would have been Bader in center, Kepler in left, and then Casty gets another day here. But they're not going with that.
Now,
they are going with Brandon Marsh. And
he had off last night, correct? He did not play last night.
Marsh did not play last night.
Wilson and Bader and Castellanos.
Yes, Wilson played left. They had all the righties in the lineup last night, which
Yeah.
did not work. They lost, and we're going to get into that as well. So do you like the way that they're saying Castellanos, I don't care, it's a right-handed pitcher, you're out of the lineup today?
Yeah. He's not earning his playing time right now. He's officially lost his job. It's now a platoon situation.
Is that what it looks like? That he's officially lost his job and that
Absolutely.
this thing is a full-blown platoon?
Yes.
I kind of like it, even though those numbers would say Castellanos should play today, right?
And good for Topper because he's actually drawing a line in the sand and making it happen.
609-403-0973. We got people watching on the X platform and on YouTube. MMO_2 on the X platform says, home is where my beer is. Go Birds. Chris Hernandez is watching on YouTube today. He says, go into the game, finish celebrating the Super Bowl, and even better that it's against the Cowboys. Always good to rub it in. The Cowboys fans. I like that, Chris. I like the people pumped up, already messaging in on the chat and everything. Text board is jumping right now. Josh on the Parkway says he doesn't like playing the Cowboys opening night. I'd rather have a few warm-up games before the title fight. Also, LJ from Millville says I have to work late, but everyone will be watching anyway. I would say it should have been Chiefs so they could see the banner being raised at Lincoln Financial Field.
Well, you get that next week.
The Chiefs game's on the road, though, there. To that guy who texted in. He didn't leave a name. Paul from Millville. Mike, I have to watch Eagles games at my home. My focus is on the game and nothing else. I will watch other games at bars, but not Eagles games. Also, love Eagles-Cowboys Week 1. We have not gotten these two teams at full strength in a few years, so we'll finally get to see that. Eagles 27, Dallas 21. Take Dallas to cover. That's from Paul in Millville. Yeah, I do like that sentiment, that the two teams are healthy for the first time. Last year, the two teams played. Dallas was just decimated, and it was a joke. So those games were just completely lopsided. But I do want to get back into this Phillies thing real fast. No Castellanos. Here's one thing I have a little bit of a problem with. And I don't know. Okay, is this nitpicking too much? Josh, Pete, people listening. Here's my problem. I don't think a team can win the World Series with Brandon Marsh hitting in the 5-hole. Like, I just read that lineup. Real Muto hitting in the 4-hole. I don't love that, but I got Brandon Marsh, a platoon player, hitting in the 5-hole.
Is he a platoon player anymore, though?
Well, he's not playing against lefties. He didn't play last night because they had a left-handed pitcher.
Well, I would say that's a mistake by Topper because he's been lights out. I mean, he's
not against lefties.
He's still batting over 300, right, in the last couple months.
Yeah, but all of that has been against right-handed pitching.
So you believe that because he's not playing every day, that's why he's been swinging a hot bat?
Well, he's facing right-handed pitching, which he feels he's much more comfortable. He does not hit lefties very well, which is why he doesn't play every single day. That has been part of the problem. Is Marsh has been you're right about that. He has swung on a hot bat. Let's see what he has done here in the last, couple of weeks. 609-403-0973. Text board buzzing today. I love it. Love it, man.
Game day.
In the last 2 weeks, he's hitting 355. In the last 28 days, he's hitting 304. In the last 2 weeks, his on-base is 394. In the last week, he's 526 with a 550 on base. My question would be, none of them is against left-handed pitching. On the season against lefties, he's hitting 183. You can't have a guy hitting 183 hitting fifth in your lineup. I mean, you just can't do it. So when I read that lineup, I like the fact that they're playing Kepler over Castellanos. But I look at Marsh hitting 5, and I think, man, just not enough slug in the 4, 5 spots. I don't mind Bohm getting pushed down. I've always said I don't like Bohm in the 4 hole. I don't like Bohm in the 5 hole. I don't mind him hitting in the 8 hole today. I mean, you have Alec Bohm hitting 8, you feel a lot better about your team. But, that outfield of Marsh, Bader, Kepler hitting 5, 6, and 7, you almost wonder, and even if Bader was hitting 5, I guess, listen, they don't really have a guy to hit in the 4 hole. They don't have that prototypical number 4 hole hitter, and they don't have that guy that is a big RBI guy. Bohm has been that guy in the past, but I have no problem with them. Bohm has struggled a little bit. So, I don't know. I look at this lineup and just wonder, can you win a World Series with Brandon Marsh, a platoon player, hitting in the number 5 hole? What do you guys think? 609-403-0973.
Well, who is the Jason Worth of this baseball team?
They don't have one.
They don't have one.
It was supposed to be Castellanos,
right?
But we saw how that has gone, right?
Yeah.
The text board is just jamming today. Jamming, people. Good for you. Phyllis in Dennisville. We're staying home tonight. I'll be drinking wine because my husband of 40 years is from Oklahoma. I want to guess what team he's a fan of. It could get ugly. Well, Phyllis, take it easy on him, all right?
Blue.
Yeah. George from Absecon. I'll be watching the game at home with friends and family. Got to work in the morning. Really crazy. Raising the banner in front of Jerry makes the cheesesteaks and a couple of Champions Ale. Yeah, wings, cheesesteak, and a couple of Champions Ale. Yeah, it is kind of fun that the Cowboys, who haven't won a world championship in 30 years, are going to be the team that's sitting there watching this tonight. I mean, listen, it all sets up great. I like what the one guy said. I think it was Paul in Millville, which is these two teams have not played healthy in a couple of years. Ian from Northfield says, on paper, it's a great time to start. It's a great to jumpstart the season. But as a Dallas fan, I don't have expectations other than 9-8 and no playoffs. My only hope is that these two hated rivals don't have a dozen injuries because they're going to put everything into this game before being in the regular season football shape. Yeah, listen, Ian, he's saying he doesn't have a lot of high expectations for the Cowboys. So
it's a big game for the Cowboys.
I wonder, though, Ian, if you're listening still and you can text back in, do you see a path to victory for the Cowboys tonight? Like, is it just a mismatch to the Cowboys fans, or do they look like, no, this Eagles team is beatable?
I would say, well, because it's week 1 and no one's played a snap, Dak or Jalen, could be some rust involved. We know about the slow starts from last season that the Eagles had, so that's one way to get out there. And then another way is I would just be aggressive. This is a new coach in Schottenheimer. You got George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott's healthy. I would try and be aggressive if I was Dallas.
Kevin in Canada says, hey, Mike, I'm glued to the TV at home. Fly, Eagles, fly. Mike, I have YouTube TV, so usually let the wife and kids take over the big TV, but football is back, so I am go Birds. No,
go Birds.
What do you mean? You have YouTube TV, so you're going to watch the game on your phone? Let your wife and kids take the TV tonight?
Maybe there's a new episode of Bluey on or something.
Now, the question I have is, I have the 2 outdoor TVs on the porch.
Now, we were texting earlier. You're going to go Phillies. Well, you can't do that today, but
no.
Going forward, Sunday, you're going to go Phillies and Eagles side by side. Well, that's not going to happen this Sunday, but going forward, Phillies and Eagles side by side.
Well, whenever they play at the same time, I'll go Phillies, Eagles side by side, Eagles with the sound.
Now, week 1, Sunday, no Birds, but week 1,
where
are you going?
I'll have Giants, Commanders on.
Ooh.
And Phillies on the TV.
So the sound is going to be Phillies.
Maybe. You know what I might do?
Now, it is Phillies Marlins. I told you, even T-Mac is taking the weekend off.
Yeah, he is. He's off Saturday and Sunday.
Calling the Texans game, maybe?
Something like that. Now, I might go multi-view.
Okay.
Because I might be able to do multi-view for the Fox and CBS game if there's one on at the same time.
YouTube TV allows you to do 4?
I think so, yeah. But so I could do. I don't know that I can get 4 games. I mean, maybe the Phillies game and then the 2 football games.
Right.
That's 3. I don't know if can I do a tri-box?
I think they can probably help that out for you. Yeah.
Mike, check out the last 10 games or so with and without Casty in the lineup. Huge difference in runs scored. Better or worse?
Well,
I can't imagine better.
Yeah, not last night. Although we did have a
Yeah, a couple hits last
Yeah,
night.
a couple hits.
Casty.
But isn't this the best iteration of the Phillies outfield as constructed?
The
Has to
best
be.
iteration of the Phillies outfield is Bader in center, Marsh in left, Kepler in right.
There you go. That's today's lineup.
I can't believe Kepler has now edged above, but Castellanos and Kepler, let's just say they're a wash offensively. If they're a wash offensively, I'll take Kepler in the outfield. Right?
And wouldn't you rather watch Marsh and Bader every day and then rotate Kepler and Casty rather than Casty every day?
If I never see Casty ever again in a Phillies lineup, I'm okay with that.
Well, there's your answer. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, to me, he is the epitome of everything that's been wrong with this team.
It's true.
You can't put him in the outfield, and they're just a better team without him. I mean, we've gotten to the point where they are a better team without a guy making $20 million. That's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. 609-403-0973. 609-403-0973. Sports Bash is live today. We are at Chickie's and Pete's in Atlantic City. Phillies first pitch. We gave you the lineup. That starts here at 4:10 today. So stop out for the Phillies.
And we didn't mention Nola just getting absolutely blasted.
I know. I want to
last
get
night.
into the Nola stuff, too, where I will say I'm glad you brought that up because I want to play this sound from Aaron Nola. Maybe we'll do that at 3 o'clock today. He sounds lost.
Defeated.
Yep. Absolutely out of answers. You cannot pitch Aaron Nola in the playoffs. You cannot do it right now. Unless something drastically changes between now and October 1st. That guy that we saw last night, that guy taking questions after the game, he cannot pitch in the playoffs. Nowhere. Be a part of the show, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. We are live at Chickie's and Pete's in Atlantic City every Thursday. It's the first Thursday of a full season here at Chickie's and Pete's. It's Eagles, Cowboys, game day. Phillies, Brewers, we're jam-packed. Coming up next, we're going to talk Eagles and Cowboys with Ross Tucker from Westwood One Radio. He is on the national call tonight for Westwood One Radio. Of course, you can listen to Merrill Reese and Mike Quick. All the action with the pregame coverage starting at 7 o'clock on 97.3 ESPN, your home for Eagles football. Sports Bash live, 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Sports Bash is live today at Chickies and Pete's. We're here every Thursday, of course, for the football season. We're in Atlantic City today at the Tropicana. Phillies will be starting at 4:10, followed by the Eagles and the Cowboys. And you can listen to all the action for the Eagles and Cowboys right here on 97.3 ESPN. We're going to have a live report from Lincoln Financial Field with Sal Paolantonio tonight at 5 o'clock on the Sports Bash. One thought every game from Casey Joyner will join us at 5:25 tonight. Let's update the poll question. A lot of people chiming in on this one today. What are you doing for the game tonight? Right now, 82% are watching from home. 8% are going out to a bar. 4% are watching at a friend's house. We do have 6% now, PG, that say they're going to the game. 6% say they're going to the game. So that's a pretty good amount of people now that are starting to filter in saying they're actually going to the game tonight.
I would say this is probably the game of the year. I mean, I know it's week one, but I think this
More
is,
than the Chiefs.
well, on the road.
More than the Packers.
This is probably the game of the year. Banner night, first game back against Dallas. Saquon on the field for the first time. Jalen on the field for the first time since the Super Bowl. To me, this is probably top two.
All right, what are you doing for the game tonight? Text in 609-403-0973. 82% watching at home. 8% right now are going out to the bar. 4% watching at a friend's house. 6% are going to the game. And if you're driving around in your car tonight, you can listen on the radio. Ross Tucker will be a part of the national broadcast of Westwood One. And, of course, he joins us right now on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN to give us a little better look at the Eagles and the Cowboys, as he always does so eloquently here on the Sports Bash. Ross, what's going on, man? Welcome back to another season. Well, obviously, along with call and games for Westwood One and the Eagles preseason, which we're going to get into, you're the host of the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, which you can check out at Ross Tucker NFL. And his appearance today is brought to you by myfrontpagestory.com. It's the best gift ever. And everybody got a great gift last year with the Super Bowl, right? And this thing is an unbelievable way for you to surprise someone in your family or a friend or the biggest football fan you know.
Well, especially what's crazy, Mike, is I learned recently that September and October are the two biggest months for weddings, which I think is insane. I think that should be illegal. By the way, I missed like half my buddies' weddings because their wives wanted to get married during football season because evidently their lifelong dream was more important than their buddy's friend Ross who played professional football. But at any rate, I digress. So anyway, if it's the two biggest months for weddings, that means it's the two biggest months for anniversary. So whether it's your own anniversary or like your parents, you got to go to myfrontpagestory.com. It's by far the best gift I've ever seen for any loved one. And here's the thing, Mike, even if you don't have an anniversary, just go to myfrontpagestory.com, throw your email address in. They'll shoot you a coupon for 20% off. And then you can use it for Valentine's Day or Mother's Day or whatever. Just go to myfrontpagestory.com, see what it's all about, and make sure you're set for the next big holiday for your significant other.
Right. Well, let's see what will be on the front page tomorrow when the Eagles and Cowboys finish up, because you watch this team all preseason long, and you don't get to see any of the starters, but you do kind of get a sense of what this team might be. Did you look at this offense? Everybody wants to talk about the defense and the new players and the matchups and who's going to start. But when you look at this offense, what is the Eagles' offense in your mind going to be? Is it a carbon copy of who they were last year with Saquon Barkley getting over 2,000 yards? Or is this team going to evolve and be a little different offensively in 2025?
Well, that's a really interesting question because I think that they want to evolve and be a little different. And I think that they probably want to throw the ball more because of the weapons that they have. You know, people forget that A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert were only on the field, Mike, for 79 dropbacks last year. That's not very many. I mean, that's like 2 games for some teams. So 79 dropbacks, all three of those guys were on the field together. And so I think as long as those guys stay healthy, I see them throwing it more. I also think, they probably want to preserve Saquon as much as possible, right? I mean, 480 touches or whatever it was, that is a lot. And they recognize that they need that guy full speed, full throttle in January to be able to go ahead and get back to the Super Bowl. So I do think that they'll probably give some of his touches to Shipley and Dillon. And then I also think they'll probably throw the ball more. But that's only if things are going well, right? I mean, like that sounds good. But if they're not winning and if they're not throwing the ball as well as they want to, then they're not going to hesitate to go back to what worked last year. I mean, a lot of these things sound good when we're all talking about them, but then you get into the game and the coaches want to do whatever they can to win that game.
Ross Tucker's with us here for the Ross Tucker Football Report, Westwood One Radio. Tonight's national call of the Eagles and the Cowboys. And the Cowboys obviously made some news. They traded Michael Parsons. They said, we need to stop the run and give the ball back to the guys we paid money to. They got Clark. Is this run game, this run defense up to the task tonight against this offensive line and this Eagles run game?
Well, they kind of have to be, right? I mean, how embarrassing would it be for Jerry Jones and the Cowboys if the Eagles run all over them after they just made that move? I mean, give me a break. You make a move, and Jerry Jones must have said run defense 10 different times. So if you're going to do that, I would certainly think that that's how they're going to be geared tonight. And honestly, they probably should, right? The Eagles are so talented and so good. I am still of the mindset, even though they got, they throttled the Chiefs, I still think your best chance to beat the Eagles is to try to stop Saquon and make Hurts beat you. Hope that Hurts is having an off night. Hope there's a couple drops. Hope you can maybe get some pressure on them. That's still probably your best bet.
Ross, you take a look at the Eagles passing game, right? Brown, Smith, we know those two. But how much more do they have this year? You got a chance to see some of the guys in the preseason, Mechie and Darius Cooper, and then we saw Dotson, who came over late in camp last year. Can they really add to the pass game because they have more depth in the pass game?
Well, I still think the targets are going to be heavy to A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Goddard. We all recognize that. And maybe even get Saquon involved a little bit more in the passing game, maybe trying to get him the ball in space. I don't know how much we'll see of Mechie. I did think it was interesting. I heard Sirianni say the other day, talking about Darius Cooper doing some of the dirty work. He's like 5'11", 215. He's pretty put together, so they might use him. He might be suiting up tonight. And he might be the guy that they count on to get down and dirty and sit up on the safety with some of the blocking. So I'm curious to see if Cooper or Mechie is active tonight, or maybe both. I do think that they'll be able to get more out of Dotson this year, especially if there's an injury to AJ or Devontae. It's really tough for a quarterback to throw you the ball a lot if he doesn't really trust you. It's hard to trust a guy when he gets there at the end of training camp and you really don't have a lot of reps with him. And that was the case for Hurts and Dotson last year. The good news is that Dotson kind of played his best ball in the playoffs. You think about the Packers, the NFC Championship game, the Super Bowl. He made big plays in all those games. So because of that, I do think that does give, the Eagles a chance, and Hurts in particular, to be more confident about what Dotson can do when he's out there.
We're talking with Ross Tucker. Of course, you hear him on Westwood One Radio. You heard him all preseason long, and he's the host of the Ross Tucker Football Podcast at Ross Tucker NFL. You did see all the preseason, which means you got to see the battles. Are the Eagles equipped enough at corner with Adoree Jackson, and it looks like Sidney Brown and maybe Makuba kind of mixing in there? Do you like that matchup? Are they equipped against this Cowboys offense with CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, the good tight end, and Ferguson? This is a team that if they do something well, Ross, the Cowboys should be able to throw the ball. So is Philadelphia's new look secondary equipped tonight?
Well, we're about to find out. Pretty clearly, I think that's the best opportunity for the Cowboys to win or move the ball, score points, is Dak, if he's fully healthy, playing the way he did a couple years ago, throwing the ball to Pickens and CeeDee Lamb on the outside. I'll give you another one, Kevontae Turpin, right? I mean, he's another guy that's very, very explosive. I think that the Cowboys need to make a play on special teams tonight to have a chance to win it. I also think that Vic Fangio knows that Sidney Brown and Adoree Jackson, are not the strength of the defense. Those guys in a little bit. I think the chess match, right, will be the Cowboys trying to put those guys in, tough positions, trying to get their receivers matched up on Adoree Jackson, Sidney Brown as much as possible, whereas Fangio will be doing the opposite, right? Trying to protect those guys, keep them out of as many one-on-one situations as he can.
How much different is the Eagles' defense with Campbell in there instead of Dean?
That's a really good question. I think Campbell can make some plays that Dean can't, but I also think Campbell is going to give up some plays, especially early in the season, that Dean wouldn't. That position is such a thinking man's position, where experience matters, instincts matter. Campbell, this is really only the, third year of his life playing off-the-ball linebacker, two at Bama and now this, whereas Nakobe Dean had been doing it for a long time. The thing is, I think Campbell will show up positively in ways that Dean wouldn't. I think the issues that Campbell might have, especially tonight, I don't know that people are going to see, right? Like, he's just not going to see things as quickly as Nakobe would have and made some of those plays.
All right, Ross, you take a look at Dallas, Philly, banner, passion, energy, fans, craziness. Is this the right time for Dallas to come into Philly and surprise people?
Man, that would surprise me. I would be very, very surprised. Anything can happen, and I will say, week one is always unique. If you look back on it, and you can say this to some extent about every week, but especially if you look back over the years, week one, there are a lot of results that when you look back later in the season, you're like, oh my goodness, how did that happen? That makes no sense whatsoever. But because of new coaches, because of a lot of things, there are results that happen in week one that you just never, ever, ever would imagine. That's the Cowboys' best chance. They make a play on special teams. The Eagles turn it over a couple times, and then somehow they make a couple big plays in the passing game. That's basically their recipe for success. I don't see it happen.
All right, Ross Tucker, don't forget his appearance today brought to you by MyFrontPageStory.com. Check that out, everybody. I've looked at that website so many times and said, man, what an awesome thing this would be to give somebody in your family. And if you look in my office, you got a bunch of cool things up on the wall. It's something you guys should all check out. And Ross Tucker tonight on the Westwood One call for the Eagles and the Cowboys. Ross, we always look forward to catching up with you during the football season, and we hope to do it throughout the season.
Sounds great, Mike. Great to talk with you. Have fun tonight.
As always, and check out the Ross Tucker Football Podcast at Raw NFL. He always has Greg Cosell on there right around the end of the week if you want to get some great insight there. And he joined us here on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN. We're giving you all the coverage you need for the game, Peachy. You hear Ross Tucker there. Later on tonight, Sal Paolantonio, football at 4 with Andrew DiCecco, and One Thought Every Game. Coming up on the other side, how do you bet the game tonight? Well, it's the first game of the season. Couple gambling tips for that game. And 3 o'clock hour, Aaron Nola sounds like a guy who doesn't have any answers. That's coming up in 15 minutes from now. And Adam Schefter reported something today.
Oh, I saw this.
The old CNC Music Factory. Things that make you go, That's all coming up on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN. All right, 3 o'clock hour Sports Bash is live today at Chickies and Pete's, the Crab House and Sports Bar that you need to be at for Phillies this afternoon and Eagles tonight. This hour is brought to you by Broadly Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, your trusted source for heating, plumbing, service, installation for generations. Call 609-3907, online at broadleys.net. Busy hour today. Me and you guys hanging out. Pete G, my on-site producer. Josh Henning is back at the Ocean Casino Resort Studios. You out there. Aaron Nola did not pitch well last night. It needs to be discussed, even on an Eagle game day. That's how bad he is. Generally, people like to hear about failures. That's why we talk about Nick Castellanos, and that's why we're now going to talk about Aaron Nola. Negative sells generally, and I know people out there are mad and they want answers about Aaron Nola. I gave you the answer in my mind yesterday. I told you before, Nick Castellanos can't be in this lineup every day. They've listened to me there. And I'm now telling you, you cannot throw Aaron Nola. And I said it yesterday. I would not pitch him in the championship, or the divisional round. I would not even put him on the roster because if he's not starting, I don't see him as a guy who's in your bullpen. So right now, Aaron Nola is a guy that is unusable in a playoff situation. And some of the reasons are he's just not good right now. 5 runs he gave up in the first inning. Couldn't even get anybody out before he gave up 5 runs. The last time he pitched, people were like, he kind of settled in. He settled in last night. But guess what? In a playoff series, you can't be down 5-0 in the first inning of a game. You can't be down 5-0 on the road and think you're going to come clawing your way back every single time that he pitches. And even if I thought he was starting to come around, and they lost the game. Hey, you settled in. It was, you lost the game 5-4, and you gave up 5 in the first, but you made it to the – no, because last night after the game was over, he was asked about what was off in the game. Here's what Aaron Nola said about it.
Command was a little off to start out. He made a pretty good pitch to Freelick there. He did a good job putting the bat on and then putting it where we weren't. And then threw a 1-0 changeup, made a little bit too high in the zone for Collins to hit that homer.
Translation: I don't really have an answer. My command is off, and my location yeah, he has no answers. You hear it in his voice. There was a time when I said Jordan Romano, I felt bad for him because Jordan Romano was once an all-star pitcher. And he gave up a home run, and he lost the game, and he's throwing 97, 98 miles an hour, and he's saying to himself, I'm still throwing 97, 98 miles an hour, but I can't get anybody out. And I don't know why. That's what Aaron Nola sounded like last night. But while Romano was throwing with velocity and couldn't get anybody out, Nola had a tick down in velocity, but he downplayed it.
Velocity-wise, it was a little down from where it had been the last couple. Is there anything you felt differently tonight?
No, I just kind of felt off, especially in the first. Feel like I settled in a little bit. But, other than that, body felt good.
So he kind of downplayed his velocity, but he's a guy that already has low velocity. And if you're a guy that already has low velocity, you can't afford to have a tick down in velocity. And that's what Aaron Nola had last night. He had lower velocity than normal, which is usually about a 92, 93 kind of guy. And if you're going down from that at this level and you're not, the first guy he walks, then he hits a guy. And I will say in his defense, in that second inning of the game, Alec Boehm has to make that play. He can't let that ball get past him, which allows a little league run to score in that moment. Then you got, Weston Wilson just cannot play left field. He's so bad out there. He collides with Harrison Bader in left field, and
we are lucky that Harrison Bader did not get seriously injured because we cannot afford to lose that guy.
You're right about that, and really that is a situation where those two guys don't play a lot together. There was no communication on the play, but that second inning was filled with miscues, right? Was it the first inning? It was filled with miscues when they scored those 5 runs for the Brewers there, and you look at it and say, come on, guys, you got to get your act together because Aaron Nola needs you. He's just not good enough right now. He gave up 6 hits, 6 runs. He did have 6 strikeouts last night. But, again, what was one of the problems? The long ball. He gives up that home run to Collins, and he continues to get killed by the long ball. You just can't have it. You cannot have it. But he points out why he thinks these big innings keep happening. Take a listen.
I think, man, I mean, you saw it out there in the first. Wasn't that crisp. Just got to make pitches, and I just think the first inning's kind of biting me in the butt the past couple of times, and I feel like it's been all year. Even before I was hurt, the one inning's been kind of blow up on me. Usually through the game, it's that one inning that's kind of, gave me trouble.
Yeah, sounds like a guy who's lost confidence, does it not? When you listen to that audio, PG, Josh, do you hear a guy who's out of answers?
It sounds like that to me, and it sounds like we're nearing the end of his time here. And
wow, he's got 7 years left, 6 years left of the
on $120 million. And I think
I don't know that he's ended his time here.
Dombrowski and Middleton might have a tough decision to make in the offseason.
I think the problem with Nola, guys, is something I've heard other people bring up. People keep bringing up this year about the mechanics of these pitchers, a little tweak here, a little tweak there. It very well may be possible that Nola, because of the injuries this year, it has so negatively affected his mechanics. He just needs to spend the offseason getting back to basics so we can learn how to just pitch again.
You say that, but Nola really hasn't been good. He hasn't been very good. Last season, in the playoffs, he stunk.
Yeah, but at least last year he gave you functional starts. He's completely useless now.
Well, last year, to be fair, he was 14-8 with a 3.57 ERA, a 1.1 WHIP. I mean,
that's not very good. I mean, it's
not this.
That's not $120 million worthy.
Yeah, but see, Mike has brought this up point up before. We got to stop bringing up the contract number. All the contracts are inflated at this point. You weren't paying Nola to be a superstar pitcher. You were paying him to go out there, give you 6-7 innings, allow 2 runs a game.
But the point is
now
you're stuck with him.
I would disagree with you, though. I would contend at the end of the year, if I said, hey, I got a guy that went 14-8 with a 3.57 ERA and a 1.1 WHIP, I would say, and he pitched 200 innings, by the way, I would say that guy's pretty good.
Well, he's an innings eater. We know that. But this is not.
That's what I'm saying. He's signed because of the innings. He's not here because he's going to go out and win a Cy Young.
He had a 3.57 ERA and a 1.1 WHIP last year. Where would those rank in the league right now? I mean, 3.57.
I'm pulling it up.
This
if you had a 3.57 ERA right now, you would not be having this conversation that this guy can't pitch. You would say he's going to be your number 2 pitcher.
And now we're looking at Walker Buehler in a postseason start.
I don't know that we're there. We'll see how Walker Buehler pitches in the game when he throws on the 12th and see. Look, listen.
So then you're going to go 3 lefties, right?
That would be the alternative, I would imagine.
So be it, yeah.
Right? I mean, listen, that's your alternative at this point. You are either A, going to play with 3 lefties, B, go with Aaron Nola, or C, is it Taijuan Walker or a guy like Walker Buehler that you pitch in a second game. But if you had last year's version of Aaron Nola, I think we all feel a heck of a lot better about where this team is.
We would, but that playoff start against the Mets was not very good.
By the way, 3.57 ERA. If that was this year, that would be top 25 in all of baseball.
Also, his WHIP would have been the 23rd best in all of baseball.
Right, so he's essentially would have been a top 25 pitcher with the numbers that he had just 1 year ago.
And Dak Prescott was an MVP candidate 2 years ago.
Well, listen, but that's a good point that you're bringing up because I was just going down that road. I do not think Aaron Nola at 32 years old is cooked, but I think you said something, either Josh or Pete. I think it's at the point where Aaron's mechanics, because of the injury and then the time off, and now he has no confidence, that it might be just best if he shut himself down and said, I cannot help the team this year. It's just a lost season for me.
Does he look like a pitcher who has lost it?
He sounds like one who has.
Like a Cliff Lee. We've seen it with Cliff Lee. Once you lose it bad, and you lose it fast.
And by the way, it's a good point. Cliff Lee, Roy Halladay.
Right.
But those guys were a little older. They were a little bit more, you ready for this, guys? Brace yourself. And if you're driving out there, get ready. I'd put your seatbelt on. Aaron Nola, next year, $24 million. 2027, $24 million. 2028, $24 million. 2029, $24 million. 2030, $24 million. And I say $24 million, it's actually $24.57 million. You're looking at a guy making almost $25 million a year for the next 5 seasons.
Sounds like Joel Embiid.
You better hope he is not cooked. I don't want to say that a guy at 32 years old is cooked, because look at Zach Wheeler right now. And I would also say, conversely, you got Walker Buehler. Is he cooked? He's 31 years old. Is he cooked? I don't know. We're going to see him pitch. But I'll tell you this. That signing of Walker Buehler better be the safety net, because you can't throw this guy right now. Do we all agree on that? Or
Yes.
do we think that, no, if he throws well his next time out, then that'll change it?
No,
Nope.
I don't want to be the guy who says, hey, you did well on the last 2 tests, but the previous 8 tests you failed.
I'm not falling for that this time.
I'm more in the boat right now that this is a lost season. Like, if you pitch well, I don't know who he's pitching against his next time out. I know last night he pitched against a playoff team. The last time he pitched against the Braves, who are decent in terms of they're getting healthier, but he pitched against a team that he could see in the playoffs, and, you know.
And that was the game where they gave him 19 runs of run support.
Right. I put no stock in what I saw in that game, but what I will say is this. Last night he pitched against the Brewers. That's a playoff team.
I got bad news for you.
His next start is against the Mets on Monday. That's a playoff team. And then his next start after that is against the Royals.
Correct. That's what I was going to say. The bad news is that now he's got 2 more good teams he has to pitch against. Good luck at not giving up 5-6 runs.
Then I ask this question. If he shuts the Mets down and pitches well against the Mets, does that make you say, okay, he pitched well against the Mets?
Absolutely not, because I saw him have a game earlier this year where he looked great versus the Cubs. Remember that game?
That's the only game the whole year that he pitched well in. That is the only game the entire season that he pitched well in.
He looked like the old Aaron Nola, and we were like, there he is, he's back, and then
that
all
guy
went
is
for
so
naught.
far gone to me. I mean, I can't even remember the last time Aaron Nola looked like.
Well,
I just told you it was the Cubs game on Sunday Night Baseball.
Saying for a full body of work, not just one spot.
I think when you look at it, this guy has now been back. That was his 4th start. By the way, that Cubs game was back on April 27th. He threw 7 innings with 3 hits, 1 run, 6 strikeouts. It was by far the best. And his ERA on that day was 5.40. It is now 6.78. His numbers are not improving. He's come back. He's pitched 4 games. And it's not like, hey, he got off to this tough start, but his numbers are progressively getting better and better and better. He's at 6.78, and that whip is at 151, which tells me the command thing is not coming back right now. It's not coming back. And I got to tell you, it's frustrating. It's unfortunate. They're paying the guy $25 million, and you lost your ace in Zach Wheeler. I think we all should just come to terms with, and I know there's a lot of people out there that just don't like and respect Aaron Nola because he gives up a lot of home runs. He gives up the big, that's something like the Nola coaster we've kind of come up on this show, but Nola's been a pretty solid performer for you. He's been as steady Eddie as there's been in terms of what you're getting from him. You're getting that, stretch of 3 really good games. Then you're getting the 1 bad game, then a good one, then 2 bad ones. But in the end, Aaron Nola has been a pretty solid performer for you. You cannot trust Aaron Nola right now. You just can't do it. And this was, this was last night an eye-opener because it's the same game every time. You're giving up 5 runs in the first inning, then you're settling down. You can't give up 5 runs in the first inning. We all agree on that, right?
And you can't wait.
Every single person out there listening, many who say, this guy, Mike Gill, doesn't know one thing about what he's talking about. This is the one day you have to say, yeah, I think I have to agree with him, even though I never agree with him. You can't trust Aaron Nola right now. You just can't do it.
And you can't trust him in a big game to work his way through it either. If he gives up 4 runs in the first inning, you can't say, okay, we'll give him 3 more innings to get in sync. You can't do that.
609-403-0973. A lot of text messages. Let's hit them up. Mike, Hembo told us on your show when Nola went down that he could not be accounted on this year, and Hembo was right. Cannot count on him this year. I would agree with that. Nola is in the playoff rotation. He will step it up. We have no choice but to allow him to.
Disagree with that.
Disagree with that.
He hasn't even been that good in the playoffs. I mean, do you remember the meltdown in Arizona a couple years ago?
He's had some, he pitched the shutout against the Cardinals in the wild card game in 2022, but you're right. I mean, it's the Nola coaster. He pitched well against the Cardinals, and then he doesn't pitch well against Arizona. I mean, and that's in a year where he pitched well throughout most of the season. I get the nostalgia that you want Wheeler to be the guy that's in your mind. The guy that's in your mind, you heard it in his voice. If you just listen to his bites right there and never saw him pitch, you would say, That's a guy with no confidence, right? We all agree on that?
It sounds like Jordan Romano, like who you brought up.
That sounds worse than Jordan Romano. At least Jordan Romano is getting out there and be like, yeah, guys, I'm not good right now. Aaron Nola sounds like he's defeated.
And by the way, these people who always put these piggyback things, people don't build playoff pitching rotations with the thought of using piggybacks. Okay? This isn't like Little League where you're like, hey, you're going to throw 2 innings, and then you're going to throw 2 innings, and then you're going to throw the next 2 innings. They're not putting a roster together with the thought of you're going to start the game, and then this starting pitcher, you're going to be the one that follows them up.
I have to disagree with that, though, because we've seen teams do that out of necessity in the postseason. I don't think anyone goes into wanting doing that, but if that's your best chance of winning, whether, for example, when the Rays got to their last World Series.
Yeah, but no. Those teams are using openers.
But the guy's still pitching 2 innings, and then the guy comes in after.
That's a different situation. I'm talking about you don't build a playoff roster by saying we're going to put Aaron Nola on the roster, start him, pitch him 3 innings, and the next guy's going to pitch 3 innings. Like, that's not a way, because let's just say this. Let's say Aaron Nola pitches well. And you're going to take him out after 3 innings because that's the way you built your roster?
I mean, again, I don't think I agree no one's building their roster with that idea in mind, but we've seen teams say, look, this guy can only go X number of innings. I'm going to have somebody else ready to come in immediately after him.
Yeah, the whole piggyback thing, especially on this team, quite frankly, like, I think Ranger Suarez right now is their number 2 pitcher. He will pitch game 2 for the Phillies.
Agreed.
Right now, Aaron Nola is not the number 2 pitcher. It will be Sanchez, Suarez, Luzardo. They will throw the 3 lefties back to back to back. And quite frankly, I don't know that Nola's on the roster. Okay, right now, these would be the 12. I think if you're looking for 12 pitchers on the roster, it would be the 3 I just mentioned, Sanchez, Suarez, and Luzardo.
Yep.
Those 3.
Agreed.
Duran.
Yes.
Strom.
Mm-hmm.
Kerkering. David Robertson.
That's
7.
Yep.
Then you've got
Bueller.
I think, yes, Walker Bueller is going to be one of them. That's 8. Tanner Banks. That is 9.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, so that's 9. Tim Miza. That is 10. You have spot for 2 more pitchers. So those guys are either Taijuan Walker, Lou Trevino, Daniel Robert, Max Lazar,
Aaron Nola.
2 out of those 5.
I say Walker should be one of them because I think he is, whether we like it or not, he is your best long arm guy in case of a situation.
He knows how to come out of the bullpen.
But he doesn't know how to come out of the bullpen. That's the problem I have with them, is when they moved him to the bullpen, they never used him.
But he's used. I mean, he's done it before. He can do it. Whereas Aaron Nola, we probably can't do that.
Yeah, like in past years, they have had some guys on their playoff roster that I was surprised when I saw the playoff roster. So when I opened up the playoff roster from 2022, 2023, and 2024, there were guys on that playoff roster that I could not believe were on there. Like, which opens up Lazar as a possible guy. Like, if Lazar pitches well for the rest of the year, he could be that guy that's the 2-inning long man, right?
Yeah.
Would you pitch Lazar in relief or Taijuan Walker in relief?
Depends on the situation.
Is it a tie game? Down?
Right.
The 5th inning.
Like, for example, it's a 5th inning, 5-5 game. You got to get the starter out of the game.
Clean inning? Clean?
Yeah, the starter is, he's at 90 pitches.
That's a great point that Pete just made. If it's a clean inning or is he coming in the middle, like Lazar, it's the middle of the inning, right? But if you're starting the inning,
that's Taijuan Walker.
That's Taijuan Walker.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Well, okay, so Lazar and Walker. What about a clean inning for Nola?
I can't trust that guy with a 10-foot pole.
Neither can I. I'm just throwing it out there.
The guy can't even start the 1st inning.
I agree. And by the way, in 2022 and in 2023, they kept 13 pitchers. The question will be, do they keep 12 pitchers and what would that be? 14 position players. If they want to
13.
keep
It's 26, right?
26, 13 and 13.
Right. You said 14.
Well, no, I
meant
said
26.
12 pitchers and 14
Oh, 12.
positions.
Okay,
Yes.
my bad.
Yeah. So if they want to keep a third catcher for the playoffs, like if they want to keep Stubbs up here.
Well, someone's got to put the good vibes in that locker room.
Exactly, but I'm saying, well, but put it this way. If you're not bringing Rojas up, okay, and you need someone to run late in the game, like, Schwarber's on base, and you need that run in the bottom of the ninth on second, because I don't know if you heard this last night. Stubbs joked that if Schwarber was running on the other day when he pinch ran, that they wouldn't have sent Schwarber there, but they sent Stubbs in that situation.
Yeah, it was Monday night, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So if you're keeping Stubbs on the roster as a guy who can, pinch run or allow you to use, I don't know if you would use Marchand as a pinch hitter, though.
Doubt it.
He just hasn't shown enough at the plate this year, although he is a switch hitter, so he gives you that flexibility. But my point is, if you keep 14 position players and you only keep 12 pitchers instead of 13, if you keep 13 pitchers, I think Walker would probably be on that team. I can't think of anybody else. They're not going to put Alan Rangel on the team. I can't think of anybody else that's like slipping through my mind through the cracks right now. That's all. All right, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN.
The point is, we just can't allow Aaron Nola to start a postseason game.
Not right now. Not on September 4th. And I got to be honest with you, I don't know how much that's going to change on October 1st.
Well, what if you're Topper, though? I mean, we've seen him have so much confidence in Jordan Romano.
No, that's Jordan.
You think it's different?
The messaging is on the wall
Okay.
with Romano. They look.
That's one guy we didn't mention though for the postseason roster, Romano.
Oh yeah, he's out there too. He could be on the postseason roster. I forgot about him. All right, text messages on the other side. I see a ton of texts, Josh. Make sure that we hit on all these text messages on the other side. Keep me in my lane there. I'm on remote today, so sometimes I don't see the text board. So
I'll read and you react.
Okay, we'll do that coming up next. If you have a text message on anything we just said about Nola, the Phillies, Eagles, Cowboys tonight, where are you watching the game? Do you like Eagles, Cowboys being week one? We threw that out there earlier in the show. Let us know, 609-403-0973. Don't forget, check us out on the YouTube channel and on the X platform if you want to watch the show live at Mike Gill Show. More Sports Bash coming up. All right, first pitch, Phil's coming up in about 40 minutes from now. Then Eagles football takes over center stage for the first time in 2025. Actually, not the first time in 2025 we'll see the Phillies. The Eagles. We saw them in February. They're
That's
playing
true.
in New Orleans, 2025. Peachy going Saquon Scherzer.
Saquon Scherzer. I was going to go Kelly Green, Jalen, but I go Saquon Scherzer.
All right, what are you watching the game tonight? Let's update the poll question. Then we'll do the text. 609-403-0973. Football at 4 in a half an hour. Sal Paolantonio in an hour and a half. Casey Joyner, One Thought Every Game, 5:30 tonight, 2 hours from now. 85% are watching from home. 6.7% going to the bar. 3.3% watching at a friend's house. 5% going to the game tonight. Where are you watching the game tonight? Text 609-403-0973. All right, we got the text board. We're going to go all over the place today. This is going to be Phillies, Eagles,
Yep.
in and out. Josh is picking the text today, so don't yell at me if he doesn't read yours.
I'm just gonna go in chronological order. That way, if I miss something, it won't be because it was me picking and choosing randomly. So, Bill in Upper Township says, "I'll be at the Eastern football game versus Ocean City at 6:00. So I don't know if I'll make it home in time to watch the game. So I'll be streaming at least the start of the Eagles game while at the high school football game."
It's an awful job by them to schedule that game at the same time. I couldn't stress anymore to have some common sense on that.
I want to say I'm disappointed in this one texter because this texter did what you always ask for, Mike, but he didn't leave his name. I want to give this guy some credit. He sent a picture of he says it's a 75-inch TV on his back porch.
Love it.
And you see the TV. I mean, this thing is mounted to the back of his porch. He's got his dog sitting in front of the TV. I mean, this is a cool little setup, but he didn't leave his name.
If you're out there listening, I always love the pictures of the setup because what it does, people say, why do you care? I like to you get ideas from people's setups. I can say, oh, I saw a picture. It's just like Happy Hour Friday.
That is a red-blooded American right there. If you got a setup like that,
Yep.
passionate.
It's like Happy Hour Friday. You guys have taught me so many different beers that I was not aware of, and now they're in my rotation.
Yep.
When you send a picture in of your setup to watch games, it helps me watch the game and have a better experience. This is a two-way street here. I give you some things that you like that I say, some things you don't like what I say. Sometimes you guys text in, I don't like it. Sometimes you send a picture in, I like that.
Ian in Northfield chimes in on the text board, Mike, and says, "This is the best chance Dallas has, catching a superior team off guard before everything starts getting settled in like it should. There's also a curse of celebration before the game where the home team falls flat if you believe in those things." That's from Ian in Northfield.
I don't know if it's a curse, but I do agree with this. And I've said this all leading up, is almost every time I can remember in a game where there's a banner, the bell ringer, Game 7, when it's like the big name bell ringer, Wall of Fame, jersey retiring, it seems that the home team can't reach the level of, like, they can't get the adrenaline back up.
Maybe
the crowd can't either. It's the crowd is such in a frenzy for the unveiling of the banner.
I mean, guys, this team is going to have a fan base that's been drinking and preparing for this game since like 4 o'clock in the morning.
But the team itself are going to be in the locker room not even paying attention, hopefully. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's
I like
why
it.
I like it too.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I love what...
Now, he can play dumb in front of the media, and that's
I like
stupid,
what
but-
Jordan Mailata said a couple weeks ago, which was, we are the 2024 world champions. We're not the defending champions. We're done. That's behind us now.
He said that we're not bleeping defending anything, is what he said.
Well, I mean, his point is, we've won the championship. It's time to move on.
I like what your boy Q Meyer said last night on Game Night here on 97.3 ESPN, where he said it's the attitude of guys like Jordan Mailata that gives him faith in this Eagles team, because he said you don't hear defending champs talk like that.
It's what Mailata said, and Jalen Hurts is the number one culprit here. And I say culprit in a good way. this World Championship is way behind him.
Yep.
We all know that. And everybody follows the leader. So I don't have any problem with them having this feeling of, hey, we're the world champions still. Like that, I firmly believe the Eagles have moved on.
And there's not really a right way to play the next season after you win the championship, right? There's not really a playbook for it.
Well, and the hard part is everyone's coming after you. You're the champions. You're going to be favored in every single game. And the Eagles' schedule this year is brutal. It's absolutely brutal. The Eagles' schedule is absolutely brutal.
Let's get to the next text. James from Delaware. Now, I'm going to repurpose this question a little bit because I remember the conversation you guys were having in the 2 o'clock hour. So I'm going to rephrase James's question because he was basically asking, for you, Mike, what is – because you're talking about the multi-game option, watching multiple games.
Yeah.
Right, like a YouTube TV. He says, what is the difference then for you, Mike Gill, between Red Zone versus the YouTube TV multi-game option?
Well, I would do the multi-game option on the second screen. Wouldn't be my first choice. But what's the difference is I'm still watching the 4 games as they're happening. I mean, I probably would, because what you do in the multi-view is you could put the sound on one. You could choose which one you want the sound on.
Right.
I don't do a whole heck of a lot of multi-view unless, like, it's College Saturday, and I'm just kind of like, hey,
there's games on every channel.
Right. But the difference for me is I like to get into a game, the flow of the game, like all that stuff. I don't like them showing me a play and then flipping to the next game and we're going to go out to L.A. now. I don't care about L.A. I'm not focused on L.A. So that's why I'm not a big Red Zone
So
guy.
it sounds like you're better off getting the NFL ticket, which YouTube TV has.
Correct.
As opposed to Red Zone. Which I don't know if you talked about Red Zone yesterday, about the commercials.
Yeah, and I read something about the commercials today. It's going to be like a picture-in-picture for like 4 15-second commercials.
And you know what? I don't care. I'm not going to justify it. I am very angry at that whole situation.
Wow.
I am very, very disappointed. It's going to force me to actually pay for the ticket, which I'm going to do.
Whoa.
Because I am not.
That's a commitment, Pete.
Yes.
Wait a second. There's 4 15-second commercials.
I don't care.
In the whole 7 hours.
I'm not going to give in to these fat cats and justify it.
Yeah,
no.
corporate fat cat.
I'm not giving into it. No, you could justify it all you want about picture-in-picture, and they're not going to miss any touchdowns. I'm not giving in. I'm not doing it.
4 15-second
I don't care.
spots.
I don't care. See, that's the problem. You can't give in like that because if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile, and it's just going to get worse.
I love this passion from Pete G today.
That's one thing. Yes, I am very angry right now. Scott Hansen can do all the media he wants.
I like you said. I don't even have NFL ticket. I don't have Sunday ticket.
I'm going to get the ticket just because.
I watched the game they put on television.
But what if it's a trash game? I mean, do you really care about the Browns against the Ravens just because the Ravens are playing?
No, but
At least you're honest.
I mean, I like to watch the Ravens because why? That's a team that I think is right now in my Fine Five. They're number 2. So then I'll watch the Ravens, and then I'll take what I can from them.
If the Lions are playing the Vikings,
that game's going to be on TV.
You don't know that.
There's a good chance.
Well, if it's at 4 o'clock, sure, but
how many times is the best game not on at 4:25? And generally, the 1 o'clock game is either Washington or the Giants if the Eagles aren't playing.
So this weekend, for example, you said Commanders-Giants is the 1 o'clock.
That's the 1 o'clock game.
Local game.
I would imagine. I don't know which games are on TV where, but I got to imagine the Giant-Commander game will be the game on in this market.
Steelers-Jets. That's a CBS game.
And I would watch the Commander-Giant game over that game. Now,
okay.
I have 2 TVs. I'll have the Phillies game on the one. I can flip back and forth during commercials and kind of check in on the other. But I have a phone. I can go look at the scores. I don't need to. That's the thing. I don't need the red zone to keep flipping me around.
Let's get some more texts here, guys.
Let me look at the schedule today real quick. I mean, we'll do one thought every game later tonight. But the Fox 1 o'clock game is Commanders, Washington, Carolina, Jacksonville, or Tampa, Atlanta. Now, I would watch Tampa, Atlanta if that's the game you gave me. Cincy Cleveland, I would be interested in that. That's another Fox game. The CBS games are Miami Indy, Vegas Patriots, Arizona New Orleans, Pittsburgh New York, Jacksonville Carolina. I mean, if you gave me, I'd watch the Fox game first. I mean, I like the NFC games more.
Well, are you watching
Then at
games?
4 o'clock, I'm going to get the best game. I'm getting Detroit and Green Bay or Houston and the Rams. I'll watch either one of those two.
Do you find yourself watching games that aren't the Eagles based off fantasy implications, storylines,
just
NFC?
Do the Eagles play them next week? Do they play them in 2 weeks? Are they on the schedule? Is it a great game? That kind of stuff. Like the Eagles play Washington and the Giants or NFC East. I'll go NFC East. They play, the Lions and Packers are two teams that are on their schedule. I'm obviously going to pay attention to that game. So
you don't care about the Bengals if you have Burrow and Chase.
I do have Chase, and guess what?
Well, there you go.
I can on my phone. I have CBS Sportsline, and my fantasy league is up. I don't need to see it. I'm not an idiot. I can read. Just because if I actually watch it happen, I don't get more points.
Well, I'm sure people out there will watch games because they have fantasy implications over storylines.
I know they do because I used to be that guy. I used to sit in the house with my fantasy league, and we watched Red Zone and 10 games all day. And I said, I don't need to do that anymore. I want to get into a game. I want to get a feel of a game. What does this team do? What do they do really well? And I feel like for me, I get a better feel of teams when I watch them all the way through rather than Red Zone. What else you got?
All right, let's get more of these texts here, okay? Enough about Red Zone here. Let's get to Alex from the Villas chimed in earlier. He says, I'm turning off my kid's Bluey show tonight, and I'm turning the game on at home.
There you go.
Was that the guy from earlier?
No, it's a different guy.
That was said he was giving up the TV to the kids?
No, the guy from earlier, he did text in. Hold on, I saw his reply. He said, here it is.
This poor kid's gonna be so sad.
He said, heck no, I'm taking the TV back. He was explaining his YouTube TV setup.
Gotcha. See, outside on the porch, I have YouTube TV on both TVs. Well, I have YouTube TV everywhere. I used to have cable in my bedroom, but I don't have that anymore. Now everywhere I have in the house is all YouTube TV, so I can do the multi-view if I want to. But I generally don't use the multi-view.
Let's keep it moving here. Smitty from Smithville chimes in at 609-403-0970. Says, Mike, you talked in the past about Nola being a right-handed pitcher between the two lefties. What's your plan now, manager Mike?
At this point right now, I got to go with the three lefties. He cannot be trusted enough. And while it's not optimal, in the words of Gabe Kapler, to go with three straight lefties, I think McGarry brought it up yesterday. The Phillies have done it before in the 09 run where they used Jay Happ as the third
Correct.
lefty, which Jamie Moyer, I would guess, was the other.
Yep.
Who was the
Cliff
other
Lee.
one?
Cliff Lee.
Cliff Lee, there you go. So Cliff Lee, Jay Happ, and Jamie Moyer. That team went to the World Series. So,
I mean, I brought this point up over a month ago, and you guys are all poo-pooing me, and now you're all coming to the dark side. It's so nice to be joined over here.
well, I said it's not optimal. It's not things that teams
I don't
generally
care
want
what's
to
optimal.
do.
If your three best pitchers are all left-hander, I don't care. Just put give me my best pitchers.
At the time, I'm not sure that we were firm that our three best pitchers were left-handed.
Well, at the time, Wheeler went down. That's why we're having that conversation.
Right, but I'm saying I don't think we were ready to just say Nola is out of the picture. We were saying, okay, Nola's back. Let's see what he does the rest of the season here. Well, 4 starts later, I think we're now saying the three best pitchers are left-handed. And look, I think somewhere the Phillies are saying, I hope Walker Buehler pitches well enough that I could split those lefties. There's 100% the Phillies would rather split the lefties than pitch them back to back to back.
And
that's
look
100%.
And look at Luzardo. He had a rough stretch, but he's kind of turned the corner a little bit, regaining some of that confidence.
Speaking of the Phillies, Mike in EHC chimes to the text board. He says, if Andrew Painter is so bad at the minor leagues that he can't be called up right now at the state of this starting pitching staff, why didn't we trade him at the deadline? That's from Mike in EHT.
That's a fair question, but hindsight being 2020, he has pitched. Listen, the Painter year is a lost year. It's very disappointing.
It was another 6 earned runs for him yesterday, by the way.
His last 2 starts have been terrible. They're banking on, and I'm not saying they're right or wrong, they're banking on the fact that, he's coming back from this injury and that he got a season of professional baseball under his belt. But they better be right. That guy's right. They better be right that We all want to see Painter be successful and be a top of the rotation pitcher. But if they held on this guy for dear life, and he's the guy that we're seeing at AAA now, again, I don't put a lot of stock, and neither do the Phillies in their AAA situations. Now, I think his AAA numbers have prevented him from coming up, but they didn't look at his AAA numbers and say, this guy sucks, we're going to trade him. So you know what I'm saying?
But,
you take it with a grain of salt. They didn't say, oh, my God, this guy sucks at AAA, we're going to trade him. But I do think his lack of success at AAA has prevented him from getting the call-up.
See, now back in Clearwater, the talk was, we're going to bring Painter up in what, May, June, right? That was the talk? What happened to that? What happened to his plan?
See, my theory is that I think that they
pitching
should
very well. Well, no, it wasn't that he wasn't pitching very well. It was that they didn't have a spot for him in the rotation here. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, my theory has always been that they jumped the gun. They shouldn't have said what they said months ago. They should have just let whatever happens. They created an environment where they had people's expectations too high.
Listen, I think they thought that they were going to need him and that he was going to be pitching well enough that it would have been a seamless transition for him to replace somebody. An injury, when an injury came up, that he would have been the guy. And they had an injury. They needed a guy.
Nola, yeah.
Nola, because I said all along, I don't need to see Taijuan Walker ever start another game for this team. We know he's not going to start in the playoffs for you. So let's see if this guy can come in and be something special. Now, his AAA outings would suggest he wasn't special this year. So that guy's not wrong.
Real quick, let's squeeze in one more. Rico chimes in and says, Mike, the Eagles need to avoid getting behind by a score or two and then losing the fans tonight.
They'll never lose the fans. They might lose them for a moment. They might lose them for a moment.
Possessions, yeah.
It was 6-3 at halftime against the Falcons in 2018 after they won the Super Bowl. They got booed off the field. They won that game 18-12. If they win 18-12 tonight, you feel okay?
Yes. Actually, yeah, I would feel okay.
Just get out of there with a win.
Yep.
Unsportsmanlike moment of the day, they made their Super Bowl picks today. Who did Evan, Michelle, and Canty pick? That's next. We'll see if we agree with any of their Super Bowl matchups. We'll give ours next on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN.
I decided, you know what? I'm going to go with what I actually believe this year, which is what I believe is January 31st, 1993, and January 30th, 1994. That was the last time we saw the same Super Bowl 2 years in a row, Cowboys and Bills. And I'm picking the same Super Bowl as we saw last year. Because I can't find a team that I believe in a big moment will beat either of these teams. Now, obviously, injury changes that. The outcome will be different. The third time these two teams meet, I believe the Kansas City Chiefs will beat the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl this year.
That's our unsportsmanlike moment of the day. That was a good choice of music, by the way, Josh. It really made the crescendo pop right there. Evan Cohen picks the same Super Bowl as last year. Eagles, Chiefs, but he likes the Chiefs to beat the Eagles. That's our unsportsmanlike moment of the day. It's brought to you by White Horse RV. Our unsportsmanlike moment of the day. Listen to Unsportsmanlike weekday mornings, 6 to 10, right here on 97.3 ESPN. So I'm talking to Evan Cohen off the air right now. He was going to try to come on earlier in this hour. He got pulled into some meetings, so he couldn't jump on. But that was his Super Bowl pick this morning on Unsportsmanlike.
Good pick, by the way.
Eagles, Chiefs. And I wrote back to him, I'll see you in San Francisco with that.
Oh,
pick.
I like that.
But I want to give you the picks of Canty and Michelle. You guys ready?
I'm here. Yep, sure.
I'm pulling them up. Sorry. Michelle Smallman, Green Bay losing to Buffalo.
Now, see,
Buffalo wins the Super Bowl? Wow.
I mean, she's a Packers fan, though, now. She adopted them, so that's a homer pick.
That's history-making, though.
Canty, Detroit Lions and the Kansas City Chiefs, with the Lions winning Super Bowl, 55.
Canty's lost his mind.
You don't like the Lions this year. You okay with the Lions? That would be history, too. The Lions have never won a Super Bowl.
I don't like them this year. Coordinators.
All right.
But Reed Mahomes, Spags.
That's Evan Cohen's pick. That is on Sportsmanlike's pick. You heard it right there. We'll see if it all unfolds. It starts tonight on 97.3 ESPN. And Football at 4 is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. It is brought to you by the Fanatics Sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. We'll be there tomorrow and on Monday, recapping the Eagles and the Cowboys. It is game day. It's a game day edition of Football at 4 here on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN. Eagles and Cowboys tonight, and we're going to get the inside scoop from Inside the Birds contributor Andrew DiCecco, who, of course, is going to be down there at Lincoln Financial Field tonight. Don't forget, Lincoln Financial Field is the home for the Eagles tonight. We are the home of Eagles football, 97.3 ESPN. And, of course, the Eagles take on the Cowboys. We're going to take a look at it with Andrew DiCecco right now for today's Football at 4. Eagles game day is here, and, Andrew, you've been a part of this, obviously, since the beginning of OTAs and training camp, all the preseason games. It is finally kickoff night, and the vibes around this team seem pretty interesting. I want to kind of get your perspective as, they're kind of moving the page. They've turned the page from last year, and that has been the messaging here. But overall, the vibes around this team, does it feel a lot like last year's team entering the season, or is this a completely different vibe around the 2025 Eagles as opposed to the 2024 Eagles when they started their season in Brazil?
Yeah, it feels a little bit different, Mike, in the sense that last season the Eagles knew they had a good team. You bring in someone like a Saquon Barkley. You have Vic Fangio joining the coaching staff. So there are elevated expectations, and you get the sense that they were going to make a deep run. But there was intrigue there. This season, there's more of a business-like approach. They've accomplished this before, but they're not satisfied. They're trying to be where their feet are, take a day-by-day approach and work on continuous improvement. And they're not even acknowledging the fact that they won the Super Bowl, and they're just trying to look at this as a clean slate. What you've done in the past isn't relevant. That's kind of how they're viewing it. And I'm just seeing a laser focus from this group. And that all starts at the top with Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, it seems like it. They said, we are the 2024 world champions. That is in the past. They are ready to move on. They're moving on. They're going to play Dallas. And a couple of questions, Andrew, get your feel on. They won't answer the questions, but let's see if you can. Is it pretty clear that it will be Adoree Jackson, Sidney Brown playing safety tonight, and Adoree Jackson playing corner?
Yeah, I mean, that's an accurate assessment. Anyone if you talk to any one of us who've been there for all 18 training camp practices or have an idea of the inner workings of it, Adoree Jackson started the last 3 practices to end training camp with the first team opposite Quinyon Mitchell. They didn't dress him in the preseason finale. That right there indicates that they like what they see. And then actually, I believe it was maybe Monday, it was Quinyon Mitchell and Adoree Jackson working off to the side with defensive backs coach Christian Parker, and you had Keely Ringo, Mac McWilliams, and Jacorian Bennett working with the kickoff team. So you look at the breadcrumbs there. That really shouldn't be a surprise. And then for Sidney Brown, he's simply just taken more of the first team reps this summer. He's gotten more opportunity to work through some things and really fine-tune the details of a Vic Fangio defense. So Makuba is the superior player. He's the better fit ultimately in this defense, but he hasn't had enough reps to suggest that he's ready from week 1, day 1, to be in there as the safety that's going to take the healthy share of the snaps. So I imagine it's going to be Sidney Brown to start, and then it just feels inevitable that Drew Makuba will eventually leapfrog him and become that starting safety opposite Reed Blankenship.
All right, let's get your thoughts then on how those two players, Jackson, Sidney Brown, factor into the game tonight. You look at CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Jake Ferguson. They do have a pretty powerful passing opportunity here, the Cowboys. If they're going to do something well this season, it's probably going to be in the pass game. What do you see in that matchup tonight?
Yeah, I'm expecting them to really try to get things rolling with tight end Jake Ferguson. When you have a rookie linebacker like Jihad Campbell and an inexperienced safety like Sidney Brown, who played 79 defensive snaps last season, and there's not a lot of tape on him, you're going to try and test him and pepper the short to intermediate levels of the field. And if you're the Cowboys, you're going to hope that you're going to catch the Eagles in some coverage lapses. But you look at the other side of Quinyon Mitchell, and I assume that Adoree Jackson's going to see a ton of George Pickens. And from a body type perspective, there's a big mismatch there. George Pickens is more of the physical, big-bodied, above-the-rim style receiver, and Adoree Jackson is on the more diminutive side as a corner, and I'm expecting him to sort of play off coverage, probably give up some things underneath with the emphasis on not giving up anything down the field. But whoever lines up opposite Quinyon, whether it's Adoree Jackson to start and maybe eventually Jacorian Bennett, they're going to get peppered and targeted heavily on that side. So I think George Pickens is going to see a lot of volume tonight. CeeDee Lamb is the top receiver on this offense, and ordinarily I would suggest that Quinyon Mitchell is going to travel with the top receiver because that's what Vic Fangio indicated. But CeeDee Lamb reps an awful lot in the slot, and the Eagles have a pretty good one in Cooper DeJean, so I think you like that matchup as well.
All right. Obviously, Andrew, a lot of the questions about the Eagles have been on the defensive side of the ball throughout training camp to here, but they got Jahad Campbell in the first round. Let's ask a question about him and how he makes this defense different from the defense that had Nakobe Dean last year.
Yeah, it's a great question. So Nakobe Dean, and it's important not to undersell what he did for this defense last season. Linebackers coach Bobby King said that the Eagles don't do what they did defensively last season without 17, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. But he's more of a tone-setting, run-defending, downhill linebacker who improved in coverage, but now with Jahad Campbell, he arms the Eagles with another rangy, athletic, second-level defender to pair alongside Zach Vaughn, and he covers a lot of ground. He has the length that I think should be able to narrow throwing windows, and he's a physical player. But I think it's the athleticism and the ability to have that sideline-to-sideline range that separates him from Nakobe in that area. Now, Nakobe's one of the smartest Eagles defensive players that they have, and he will have a role, in my opinion, when he returns. But you're asking what separates the two. It's just the all-encompassing skill set that you get in a Jahad Campbell, which I think that he and Zach Vaughn really complement each other ideally.
Football at 4, Andrew DiCecco from the Inside the Birds podcast, InsideTheBirds.com. Eagles and Cowboys tonight. I want to get your take, Andrew, on if you've got a hold on what this offense will be. Is it going to be different? Is it going to have a different kind of feel and look to it? Or is it going to be, hey, Saquon Barkley, the bell cow, big year for him, and the pass game is what it is?
I'm not so sure that I have a firm grasp on what the offense is going to look like, nor do I think that anyone really can, because training camp is not the ultimate indicator of what it's going to look like come week one when everything's live. But if I'm to kind of connect the dots and look at some of the background, like Chan Gailey, a 46-year coach who had a 46-year coaching career, was a mentor to Patullo, and some of the other coaches that Kevin has been around in his career, I think it's fair to surmise that you might see something of a West Coast-style offense that's timing-based and predicated on getting the ball out of the quarterback's hands quickly, and the short to intermediate passing game. I do think you're going to see them push the ball down the field a little bit more, because to evolve suggests that you take a next step forward and expand on something that maybe you didn't get a chance to fully showcase last season. So to me, that's the passing game. Perhaps you see the running backs a little bit more incorporated in the receiving game, but that's kind of my read on it right now. We're all going to kind of learn about what this offense looks like in the coming weeks, especially what they roll out there tonight. But I have full confidence in Kevin Patullo just based on being around him, talking to him, listening to what he has to say, and seeing how he coaches on the field and how he engages with his players. He's been in the building for a number of years. He's entering his 5th year with Jalen Hurts. So until proven otherwise, I think a lot of folks should be optimistic about the Kevin Patullo era.
Is there a guy on this offense? Last year you had Barkley, Brown, and obviously Smith. Goddard, he has his role too. But is there somebody else this year that you're going to have your eyes on that could add another layer to this offense?
Yeah, to me it's simple. It's second-year running back Will Shipley. You talk about the receiving element. In my opinion, he's the Eagles' most natural pass-catching running back. He's a work in progress in pass protection, but he adds another dimension to the offense. He's twitchy. He's explosive. He's good in space. And I think more importantly, Mike, is that the Eagles, specifically Jalen Hurts, trusted him as an outlet option on many occasions this summer. And what we've learned from Jalen Hurts is that if he doesn't have a lot of reps with you, if he doesn't fully trust you, or he's trying to really establish that rapport, and that's a work in progress, he's not going to look your way all that much. Jahan Dotson's probably a really good example, because it wasn't until later in the season where Jalen started to turn to him in critical moments. So I think Will Shipley, because he's the ideal in-game change of pace option to Saquon Barkley and can be that Kenny Gainwell role and serve as that 2 and 4 minute running back that the Eagles so highly covet, that's where I could see him carving out a role.
All right, Andrew DiCecco, let me get your take then on where, Micah Parsons no longer here, big pass rushing loss here. Where do you attack this Dallas defense tonight if you're Kevin Patula? Game one, you're looking over this defense. I'm going after what?
I would say it's a secondary. You attack the secondary. They're going to have trouble covering. I know they just paid Deron Bland, and Trayvon Diggs is there. Their safeties leave a little something to be desired, and Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson. This could be a big Dallas Goedert game where he threatens that second level and really starts to make plays between the numbers, which is something we haven't seen an awful lot of. But I also think that the inside zone runs tonight for the Eagles should have a lot of success because Osa Odigizua, their defensive tackle, he's undersized. Kenny Clark's a new addition there, and you have to wonder about the other players behind them in terms of who's filling in for Micah Parsons, and they have some undersized players like Donovan Ezaraku. I feel like the Eagles should be able to kind of bully them in the running game.
All right, Andrew, the other thing is here, obviously, when you look at the Eagles, we think about that offensive line and how good and how deep they are. Tyler Steen is the one newcomer there. Obviously, Landon Dickerson, there were some questions whether he would play. It looks like he will play tonight. But is Tyler Steen going to be an issue this year where Mekhi Becton was last year? Do you think that spot is solid and secure?
I don't think that Tyler Steen's going to be an issue this year. And anyone of any member of your audience who's listened to me, anyone who's read my work or heard me elsewhere, knows that I've been bullish on Tyler Steen, even dating back to last season. I've had a lot of conversations with him, and what I've observed from him is a player who, when he started to stack days in training camp, productive days, that's where I saw the confidence really start to manifest. He's a quiet guy by nature, but I'm starting to see the way that he carries himself in a much more confident manner, and that's what happens when you're out there and you're executing your coaching from Jeff Stoutland. You're hearing whether it's Lane Johnson, Landon Dickerson, Jeff Stoutland offer ringing endorsements for him, or even defensive players that are singing his praises. I think there's something to be said for that. And he spoke, I guess it was late last week, and he was very transparent. He doesn't want to be the guy that is perceived to be the weak link. There's all pros, there's household names on that offensive line, and then more or less there's him. And he just wants to be able to do his part, and he said he's feeling very confident.
Give me a thing from you that you're looking tonight and worried about. Like Dallas does this well, I want to see how Philly responds.
I think just Dak Prescott being a veteran quarterback, knowing where to take advantage of deficiencies on the back end. So just throwing it up there and throwing some touch passes and with George Pickens and trying to capitalize on the Eagles' the second cornerback and maybe some inexperience there at safety. Just when you have a savvy veteran quarterback like that, that really is their hallmark. It's certainly not in the running game with Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders. I think when you look at the Dallas Cowboys, the only way that they can sort of threaten the Eagles is via the passing game, and that's what I'm expecting.
All right, Andrew, obviously you take a look at what the Eagles and Cowboys bring to the table. Game one, banner, passion, energy, coming off the championship. You've seen them all. Is this a tough spot to play Dallas, or is this the perfect team to kind of start this season off with?
Yeah, I think it's the perfect team because as if you need any other motivation, it's the season opener at home in front of a raucous, impassioned crowd, but you're going against a division rival. So you have to be hyper-focused because you want to get off to a good start in that case. And it's also an opportunity for the Eagles to go out there and I think really not a measuring stick because they're head and shoulders better than the Cowboys, but really start to showcase who you are, start to establish an identity. And when you look at it in those terms, I think that that's all the more reason for them to be fully dialed in. And I think it's a really good spot, a perfect opponent for them to be playing opening night.
All right, Andrew DiCecco at Lincoln Financial Field tonight. He'll be there. The coverage over at InsideTheBirds.com, the Inside the Birds podcast, and all week long, of course, during football at 4. here on the Sports Bash live on 97.3 ESPN. Andrew, enjoy the game tonight. We're looking forward to your coverage.
Thanks, man.
All right, Andrew DiCecco, Football at 4. It is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast, and it is brought to you by the Fanatic Sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. Obviously, he said he likes the matchup for Philadelphia, really the perfect matchup for them. You know, they are playing a division rival, game one, and, you know, sometimes, especially the rivalry that Philadelphia and Dallas do have, you seemingly like to kind of wait till these two teams establish themselves a little bit, have a little bit more storyline behind it. Hey, they've done this. They've beaten these teams. Now they match. You get this game right off the rip here, and Dallas is coming off of a season where they were 7-10, and obviously they were 7-10 with a ton of injury issues. So is this a Dallas team that many people out there look at as kind of a, you know, an underwhelming crew? Or do you look at this Dallas team as a team that could be sneaky good this season? Let me know what you think on the text board, 609-403-0973, 609-403-0973. Is this a sneaky Dallas team? You know, they struggled last year. They were 2-7 at home last year, but they were 5-3 on the road. They were actually better on the road than they were at home last year. And you take a look at one of the big problems they had. You know, when you look at what happened to the Cowboys last year, well, at the end of the year, their quarterbacks were Will Grier, Trey Lance, and Cooper Rush. Like, that was what they were rolling with. Not ideal. Rico Dowd, Deuce Vaughn, not going to get you a lot of yards on the ground. Their offensive line was a major problem last year. At wide receiver, you know, CeeDee Lamb didn't even finish the season healthy on that team. He was out. But, you know, you look at the injured players. Bridgeton's Marquise Bell. He's a pretty key guy on their defense. He got hurt. Trayvon Diggs, out. CeeDee Lamb didn't finish the season. DeMarcus Lawrence didn't finish the season. Zach Martin. Obviously, Dak Prescott. They got a lot of injuries on that team throughout the course of the season, and it just kind of spiraled for them. They were 3-2 at one point. Remember, Philly started 2-2, so did Dallas. And they beat Pittsburgh on October the 6th, and then obviously it all kind of fell apart when Dak got hurt, and then the next thing you know, the defense is just shredded. They lost 47-9 against Detroit, and then the season just got completely out of control. They lost to the Eagles 34-6. The next week they lost to Houston 34-10. But they did win 4 out of 5 from November 24th to December 22nd. So they did have a little run of football where they beat the Commanders, they beat the Giants, they beat Carolina, and they beat Tampa Bay. Tampa, obviously, a playoff team. Washington went to the NFC Championship game. They did win 2 games against playoff teams in there. So is this a team that is actually looking at, hey, we're healthy for this Eagles game? We actually are healthy in a game against Philadelphia. We talked about it yesterday during Football at 4. Dak Prescott, his career numbers against Philadelphia, he's pretty good. He's pretty good in those games. 24 touchdowns, 9 interceptions in 13 games against Philadelphia. Dak Prescott has beaten the Eagles, I believe it was 9 times in 13 games. So 9-4 in games against Philadelphia. When Dak plays against the Eagles fans, you got to be honest with yourselves. They have been pretty good against Philadelphia. Now, when Cooper Rush plays, one of the big problems with Philly and Dallas in recent times is Dak plays, Hurts is out. Hurts plays, Dak is out. How many times have Dak and Hurts actually matched up against each other? This is year, 6 for Jalen Hurts? And I'm sure almost every single time that they have matched up, they haven't got a chance to actually face each other. So you do get a healthy Cowboys team tonight. And we're going to break it all down. We got the Nuggets coming up. Earnshaw's here. Phillies game just underway. Come on out to Chickie's and Pete's in Atlantic City at Tropicana. Some people starting to come in to watch the Phillies-Brewers game, but make sure you get here for the Phillies-Brewers so you get a seat for the Eagles-Cowboys tonight. We got a Phillies-Brewers, Eagles-Cowboys double disco today, live from Chickie's and Pete's in Atlantic City. Still to come, Sal Paolantonio joins us live from Lincoln Financial Field with everything you need to know before the Eagles and the Cowboys kick off, including we have some Sal Pal video walking into the stadium at the early hours this morning, and tailgaters already lining up for the Eagles and the Cowboys. And the return, he is back. It is One Thought. Every game, KC Joyner is back on the Sports Bash for another season of One Thought every game. We got Eagles, Cowboys thoughts, and then One Thought every game, week one. Oh, boy, it feels good to say that, doesn't it, everybody? It is a Sports Bash Live. Don't forget, watch the show live, streaming on the YouTube channel and on the X platform, at Mike Gill Show. You can watch the show live. You can chat live in the chat box on the YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, and be a part of the show that way. And on the text board at 609-403-0973. It's game time, New Jersey. The playbook for this season's action is at DraftKings Casino. Play thousands of popular slots for shot at jackpots. Over $400 million has already been awarded. New players get 500 spins on Huff and More Puff over 10 days. Download the app, use the code DK973, and claim your spins after your first $5 wager. Get in the games with DraftKings Casino, home of the largest jackpot win in online casino history. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. You must be 21 or older, physically present in New Jersey. Eligibility restrictions apply. New customers only. Non-withdrawable casino spins issued as 50 spins per day for 10 days. Valid for the featured game only and expire each day after 24 hours. See terms at casino.draftkings.com/promos. Ends October 2025 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, coming up, Knicks Nuggets are all the way. Let's see what's in the packet Nuggets today. That's next. This is the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. All right, 429 Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. We are at Chickie's and Pete's today, every Thursday, but we happen to be here live for Phillies Brewers right now. It's 0-0 in the second inning. Phillies and Brewers, 97.3 ESPN. We've got Phillies and Brewers on now. And then coming up tonight, it'll be Eagles and Cowboys on 97.3 ESPN. Listen to all the action with Merrill Reese and Mike Quick. Time for Nick's Nuggets. They're brought to you by the Hub, gear that works as hard as you do. Nick Earnshaw is on his way to Lincoln Financial Field. So pinch hitting for the Nuggets today. And joining us in just a moment is the host of Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6 a.m. on 97.3 ESPN. Evan Cohen will join us here to fill in for the Nuggets. So we'll do a little Nick's Nuggets with Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike coming up in just a moment here on the Sports Bash. If you're watching on YouTube or on the X platform, you'll see Evan jump into the screen there in just a second. For those of you listening, of course, on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, we got Sal Paolantonio coming up at 5 o'clock.
By the way,
Yep.
look at Chickie's with this little setup here. They got something going on here.
Yeah, they're
With
doing
game day.
It's like a game day, like the whole staff all
This
of a
is
sudden.
great.
It's like a NASCAR tire change of like decorations and stuff, right? They got balloons. What did you think about the balloons at Bill Belichick's post-game press conference?
I mean, that was a disaster from all angles, start to finish. Actually, the first possession obviously looked good, and then down in there.
Right. All of a sudden, you see he's at the post-game presser, and he's getting, it's kind of weird. You have like the student newspaper guy grilling Bill Belichick, right? Like, kind of.
Now, do we have to see Jordan Hudson after every touchdown North Carolina scores this year?
I would imagine it's like the Taylor Swift
Taylor
thing, right?
Swift, yeah.
Every time there's a reaction, good or bad, like you go to her reaction and see what it is.
I mean, it's his girlfriend, for crying out loud.
I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
she was down on the field. All right, Evan Cohen's here. Filling in for Nick Earnshaw today on Nick's Nuggets is Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike. He is the Nuggets today on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN. They are brought to you by the Hub, gear that works as hard as you do. No one works as hard as you do, Evan Cohen. He was on this morning from 6 to 10. We played our Unsportsmanlike moment of the day, and it was the team's Super Bowl picks. And we'll have Evan Cohen to talk about that. But we have other nuggets we're going to get into as Evan Cohen is pinch hitting for Earnshaw today. You are today's Knicks Nuggets. What's up, Evan Cohen?
Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. We are live on location. I don't know if you've ever been in the Northeast to a Chickie's and Pete's. Are you familiar with a Chickie's and Pete's in the Northeast here?
Not as much as I should be, obviously, because the location you are at Chickies and Pete's that I'm looking at right now behind you, if people are watching on the video stream, looks beautiful, looks cool, looks hip, looks a lot cooler and hipper than you and I are, that's for sure.
So Chickies and Pete's is kind of like the Northeast Philly, kind of Jersey Philly. They have them in some of the airports. I think there's one in the Vegas airport. But this is like a bunch of Chickies and Pete's. There's one in Atlantic City, Egg Harbor Township, Philly, South Philly. There's probably like 8 of them. And these are where Eagles fans come to watch games. This is the spot. It will be mobbed in here tonight for Eagles Cowboys. You just picked the Eagles Chiefs to repeat in the Super Bowl, but you have a team that lost 44-14, winning the Super Bowl this time around. Explain yourself.
Okay, so first of all, I'm on the Chickies and Pete's website right now, and this looks great. So I do think I have to be a part of this somehow because the crab fries are oh my God, that looks good. It looks.
They have trademarked the crab fries. They have the.
And then how about this? Tell Chickie and Pete's to send me this, the lobster pizza. Oh my God. The Lisa's Blonde Lobster Pizza, the award-winning thin crust white pie topped with mouth-watering baby lobster. Oh, I am there. Let's go, Mike. Get this done for me. Oh,
by the way,
God, that looks good.
we are on the boardwalk. I am looking at the Atlantic Ocean right now. This building's unbelievable. Like right where my hand is on the other side of this wall is the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh, tremendous. What a location and what a menu that I'm looking at right now. Okay, so to answer your question, so we all give our Super Bowl predictions. It's a very unique new thing in sports talk radio. It's never been done before. But I think a lot of times we all try to get cute with these predictions and try to find teams that are not the obvious ones. And if I were to do that, and I've done that in the past, I always do it was the Patriots most of the time. I would do all right, here's my non-Patriots Super Bowl pick. Because I think you have to show the respect of the team that's been there and done that. But I feel so strongly about the two teams that were back or there last year that I'm going to pick something that hasn't happened since the early 90s with the Cowboys and the Bills in the back-to-back. The thing is, and this is not at all a slight on Philly, because remember, I also picked Jalen Hurts to win MVP today. I have him as the MVP of the NFL this year. I think he's going to have a monster year. I think he's going to have a better regular season than he had last year, but the Eagles have a worse postseason than they had last year by 1 win short. I just think that Kansas City, if healthy, is going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder in a way that they haven't ever had to play. I just think it's totally different than anything ever they've had to experience here.
And it's funny you say that because it almost feels like people are kind of fading away from the Chiefs, right? I know Michelle, we played her pick earlier. It was our unsportsmanlike moment of the day. She went with Green Bay and Buffalo, and Canty took Detroit and Kansas City. Had the Lions beating Kansas City there. So in that situation, Buffalo would win their first ever Super Bowl, and Detroit would win their first ever Super Bowl. But there is this feeling that the Chiefs are kind of at the end of the road here. Not like the Patriots, though. The Patriots didn't feel like they were at the end of the road until Brady left.
Well, I don't know about that because, remember, they had two separate dynasties. You know what I'm saying? They had the early version and the late version. We think about it as Edelman and Gronk and all of those guys that were with Brady the second go-round. But the first go-round with, Mike Vrabel and Teddy Bruschi and obviously Troy Brown. I mean, we're talking about guys that are big-time guys, but two different versions of it. We haven't seen a different version of the Kansas City Chiefs, and that we we haven't seen the next iteration of what the core is, because the core has been the same thing, Mike, the whole time with Mahomes, Kelsey.
Well,
and Chris
they did have the Tyreek Hill and
I
then
never
the post
considered
Tyreek Hill.
I never consider him a core guy. I don't ever. It's rare, if ever, that you're going to hear me. And I know I just brought up Edelman and Troy Brown. I don't consider the high-paid wide receiver part of the core normally. I know that's weird, but yeah. I think that they AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are great. Are they going to be part of the entirety of this Eagles run? Probably not as long as the two Jalen's will be.
Well, all right. So let's go to we've had a bunch of unsportsmanlike moment of the day fun over the last couple of weeks, and it involved stuff that you have said, stuff that Candy has said, stuff that Michelle has said. One of the things was that Nick Sirianni is not safe. He is not potentially safe for the next X amount of years, to which I can't find that because, as you just said, this core is going to be together, but as long as – so I'm wondering if Jalen Hurts loses the guys, do we look at the Eagles differently?
Well, but not when you're someone like me that looks at Jalen Hurts as an MVP. So if all of a sudden the churn happens in Philly, which we're years away from that, as you know, but if the churn happens like we're talking about maybe the last of this group in Kansas City over the next couple of years and that they're going to have new core pieces in there, I believe in Jalen Hurts more than most do. So if you tell me all of a sudden A.J. Brown, who's awesome, we get that, is up there in age, in a couple of years, and the price is too high, and he leaves. He goes somewhere else. My assumption is Jalen Hurts will then be ready to make a B-level wide receiver and into an A-level wide receiver. That's what I'm assuming.
It will morph into our next conversation, something you guys brought up today. It would almost go back to Howie Roseman and say, I'll replace those guys with somebody. Like he picked up the phone and said, can I have Micah Parsons? You said this morning on Unsportsmanlike that Jerry Jones needs to hang up on him no matter what.
No, I did not. I said the opposite. What I said, that's what they were saying. They were saying that was the report. I'm saying the exact opposite.
Right. You said the opposite.
Yes,
you said if they offered him 2 first-round picks and Jalen Carter.
I'm making that deal in 2 seconds if I'm Dallas.
If you're Dallas. So
now,
the
Jerry
Eagles
Jones
are not.
trade. I know the Eagles are not, but
right. If you're the Jerry Jones trade machine, then you're saying I'm taking that
right.
deal.
The point of Mike, that came up this morning because of the idea that Schefter reported that the Eagles are in, which I saw immediately you're tweeting and 97.3 is going crazy, rightfully so, about the idea on social of like, wait a minute, we could have been in the mix for Micah Parsons, Pennsylvania guy. My point is this. When you're not close to a Super Bowl, like I don't believe the Cowboys are, and you have made a decision to trade Micah Parsons, I don't care where he's then going to play and if I'm going to play him 2 times a year. I don't care. I want the most value in return. And if the Philadelphia Eagles, hypothetically, were going to give me more value than the Packers would, that's where I'm trading him if I'm Dallas.
If that's the best deal is what you're saying. Because if you're going to trade him in the conference, might as well just trade him to the best offer because you might have to beat him anyway.
By the time that I'm ready to beat Micah Parsons, if I'm the Cowboys in this case, Micah Parsons and the Eagles may be a completely different team, and thus who cares if 2, 3, 4 years from now, oh my God, he's on that team. I may be good enough to beat him then. And now I'm not going to be good enough to beat Philly with him, and I'm not going to be good enough to beat Philly without him. So why do I care in that point if he's on the team if you're going to give me young players and picks in return?
So when you look back at this, the dust is settled. He's going to be in Green Bay. Dallas says we're better. This thing was totally bungled. Do you look back and say the trade is not as bad as everybody made it? They just got mocked and laughed at by everybody. But was it as egregious as everybody is making it out to be?
It's just when it happened that was the problem, right? Because I think you voluntarily lowered the value by waiting this long. Mm-hmm. I love the fact that I hear Creed in the background right now, which is great.
I'm just letting him know. You got to turn that down a
little.
No,
you don't have to turn it down. Don't turn it down. It's great.
Turn it up.
Turn it up.
Well,
that's right. People would rather hear Creed than me. Put a poll up. Would you rather hear Creed or at MCO Radio?
Evan Cohen on Sportsmanlike is filling in for the Nuggets section right now. Are we overlooking the Cowboys? Now, the Eagles beat them last year like 75-15.
Are you saying for tonight or for the season?
For the tonight, because that's the good question. The Eagles beat them 75-15, I think, in the 2 games combined. But these two teams, every time they seem to play, either Prescott's hurt or Hurts has been hurt. I've seen Cooper Rush play, I feel like, the last 4 years that these two teams have played. But they are healthy. This is a full, ready-to-go Dallas team. They finished 7-10 last year, but a lot of that was injury-related. Is this a team that people are not taking seriously enough, or is this a bad Cowboys team?
Well, I don't think we're thinking about them as a football team because they don't want us to think about them as a football team. They want us to think about them as a show. So I think tonight, like they're a money-making marketing machine. So it's today on September 4th, 2025, the day the season opens, is the first time we've actually thought about the Dallas Cowboys as a football team and not a marketing machine that's a bank. So, yeah, of course we're not taking them as seriously because we haven't thought about X's and O's with them, and we haven't thought about the fact that, you know what, Dak Prescott was a runner-up in an MVP race a couple of years ago. Dak Prescott is a really good player. He was hurt last year. Oh, wait, by the way, they at least before knowing what happens next, I don't know how you can argue anything but that they downgraded at the head coaching position. I think Mike McCarthy's actually underrated. Mike McCarthy won 12 games for them 3 straight years, and in a banged-up year last year, still won 7 games, wasn't an embarrassment, and has won a Super Bowl before. So they got worse in terms of that with Brian Schottenheimer, but in general, sure, yeah, we're probably underrating or not looking enough at the X's and O's of the Cowboys because that's not what they want us to look at. They want us to look at the show that Jerry Jones and company put on every year.
By the way, speaking of Mike McCarthy, he's going to be doing a weekly hit with the McAfee show. So if you want to get really entertaining insight, listen to Mike McCarthy. I always found him to be such a colorful speaker after those games were over. I felt bad for him most of the time there. He never had a healthy team. I felt like the quarterback got hurt every year he was there. So, all right, let's go to this one here because this was our Unsportsmanlike moment of the day yesterday. Was Michelle Smallman's pick bold by saying the Eagles will win the division back-to-back years when they're the clear favorite, even though no team has won the division back-to-back years in over 20 years? Is that a bold prediction?
No way. No way. When you say the Super Bowl champions, and we crushed her for it, when you say the Super
So did
Bowl,
we.
yeah, as you should. When you say the Super Bowl champions are going to come back the next year and they're going to win, and at that point, I'm like, wow, she's going to say back to back. That's pretty bold. We haven't seen that in a while. The division, no, that's not bold. I don't care what happened between 2004 and today in the NFC East. Is Jalen Hurts not playing smalls? Is Saquon not playing smalls? Is Sirianni not coaching? Is Jalen Carter not playing? I mean, what are we talking about? This is the same-ish team. Secondary, I know different. I get that. But the same-ish team as we saw a year ago win the Super Bowl. That's not a bold statement saying they're going to win their division this year.
I'm going to go out on a limb to say I think maybe 4 out of her 5 were not bold.
Oh, I didn't think she had that many bold ones. And I thought, I mean, I'm biased towards myself, I guess. Mine were way more bold than some of the ones that I was saying. I said that Russell Wilson would be the starting quarterback for 2 different teams this year.
That is something, yes. Although, that's a good possibility because I imagine he'll be gone in the 4th week and they move on and somebody, I don't know, does somebody even pick him up? We get to that point when you have now bounced around from so many teams that they just stop picking you up. Although, like, Joe Flacco keeps getting jobs, right?
Yeah, I mean, but he was also good for them, to be fair.
All right, let me go to our next nugget here, which is, I don't know if you saw this today. Tyrese Maxey tweeted out that he is from Dallas, and therefore he is sorry to the Eagles fans because he has to root for, this is the tweet, serious question. I am literally from Dallas, Texas. How could y'all even trust me if I became a full-on Eagles fan over the Cowboys? I root for the Eagles every week except 2 weeks out of the season. And, of course, the Eagles fans and the Sixer fans get mad. Should sports fans get mad when the players in that town don't support the actual team when they're from a different town?
So, as you know, I love Jalen Hurts. But Jalen Hurts started this in Philly, did he not? By wearing the Astros hat years ago?
The Astros hat, yes.
Okay. So here's my question to Tyrese Maxey. Was anyone that listens to 97.3 in Atlantic City and listens to the great Mike Gill, Sports Bash, Mike Gill, thinking today, I wonder what Tyrese Maxey is doing tonight from a rooting interest perspective in the Eagles-Cowboys game? No one was thinking about that. And Tyrese Maxey's awesome. Why are you inserting yourself in this? Why are you then publicizing that you're rooting for the Cowboys? Why couldn't, Mike Gill, you sit back if you're Tyrese Maxey at home tonight, root for the Cowboys, put nothing on Instagram, Twitter, whatever it may be, and just root for your team? I'm fine if he wants to root for the team. I'm not fine if you're publicizing it. No one cared today what Tyrese Maxey was thinking about this game tonight. Now, if Tyrese Maxey has a bad start to the season, Eagles fans, Sixers fans are going to blame his fandom of the Cowboys.
It always comes back to that, and it ties into this. Are we tired of the pandering from Bryce Harper? He had the rivalry cleats on last week, and today he's going with the Kelly Green Eagles cleats as the Phillies are in action right now against the Brewers.
Well, I'd rather that than the other way, no?
Absolutely. Well, see, all right, so Harper has always kind of been like the most popular guy. He can never do any wrong. Well, he wore those Met color cleats, and then he didn't have a good game. Then he wore Sunday Night Baseball. He had the Braves ones on. And everybody's like, you know what, I'm kind of getting tired of this, the pandering and this. So there you go. There's the cleats today, the Kelly Green Eagle cleats.
All right, so basically what you're saying is enough of the cross-sport fandom stuff that's going on here. Just let it be. Let it be.
That's right, because I feel like you're just setting yourself up to give an avenue for the fans to now not like you.
Now, let me give you another one. Let's look up when the Packers and the Cowboys play. Why do I bring that up? I bring that up because Anthony Davis is a huge Packers fan. He now plays for the Mavericks. Is Anthony Davis going to show up at that game rooting for the Packers as a Dallas guy now? And they now have that rivalry because of the aforementioned Micah Parsons. Right? So, I mean, not that they didn't have that before, but I understand what you're saying. Some of this stuff you go too far. Stop inserting yourself into it.
Evan Cohen, big game tonight. What are you doing for Eagles Cowboys if you're a fan of one of these teams? Watching at home, going out to the bar, watching at a friend's house, going to the game. What's the answer?
Well, okay. If I'm in the Atlantic City area where you are, I'm going to Chickie's and Pete's where you are. That's where I'm going to visit you and get that lobster pizza is what I'm going to do. But for me, I'm a stay-at-home guy.
Me too. Okay.
I covered football forever. Not that I wouldn't go to football games. When I lived in South Florida, I went to Dolphins games all the time. But I felt like, in some regards, I felt like, oh, God, I was missing out on all these other games. Now, as a national
Are you a red zone guy or no?
Yeah, but I'll do the double TV. So I'll do double screen. So I will have red zone on one and then the Patriots game on another.
No red zone here.
Well, but you're Eagles.
Yeah, no.
You
But when the Eagles aren't on, like Sunday, I'm not going to play no red zone for me on Sunday.
What are you going to watch without the Eagles playing?
Whatever's on 3, 6, or 10.
So whatever the big games are.
I'm watching. Well, we'll have here in this market on Fox, we'll have Giants, Commanders, and then the 4:25 game will be Lions, Packers. I don't need red zone. I got those two games.
But I agree with. If I'm hosting in a specific market,
yeah,
I would agree with you. I don't then need to watch every game. When I'm hosting everywhere, I need to watch a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Well, there's the Nuggets today. They're brought to you by The Hub. Gear that works as hard as you do. Keep working hard, man. The unsportsmanlike moment of the day tomorrow right here on the Sports Bash at 3:45. Listen at 6 to 10 to see if you find out which moment we use on the show. Maybe it'll be your moment, Evan Cohen. Maybe it'll be yours.
A lot of Creed votes coming in on the poll right now. Creed is destroying me.
I see you're getting beat up pretty good.
I'm hoping so.
Thanks.
I'm hoping so.
Thanks for filling in.
Thanks for having me as always.
Knicks Nuggets are going to be popping in live from Lincoln Financial Field tonight at 5:45. He's going to call us.
Creed?
Evan Cohen's very entertaining. O'clock hour. It is the Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. Eagles and Cowboys tonight. Let's get ourselves ready. It's Eagles-Cowboys tonight, and you can listen to the game on 97.3 ESPN. We're going to be checking in from Lincoln Financial Field. Sal Paolantonio will be joining us in just a couple of moments here on the Sports Bash. Plus one thought every game. Now, I feel like I need it like Welcome to the Jungle or like Metallica Enter Sandman or something. I feel very melancholy right now.
Jawan Duran entrance music.
That would have been something, yes. Phillies, by the way, nothing. There we go.
That was right on cue.
That was good. That was a quick turnover. Feeling good? Feeling ready? Ready to go? Feeling good? Here we go. 5 o'clock hour, Sports Bash Live. Eagles, Cowboys. By the way.
Do we see Bradley Cooper tonight? Is he the guest?
No question.
No question. Okay.
He's there.
He's the guy sitting next to Jeffrey Lurie in the box. Okay.
I would think so. It is the Eagles and Cowboys at Lincoln Financial Field. We're going to give you all the angles that you need. You've been seeing them all day long on ESPN television, but he is kind enough to join us right here on the radio side on the Sports Bash Live from Lincoln Financial Field. Now, I saw the video at Sal Pal ESPN. It looked like there were people tailgating out there bright and early when you had the Dunkin' Donuts and handing them out to people. It looked like people, Sal Pal, are ready to go for this game tonight.
It was 0 dark 30. It was before sunrise, Mike Gill. It was 5:45. I came out here to do a Channel 6 hit, help out one of the Disney stations, our network here in Philadelphia, ABC. They asked me to come out and help with the coverage. So I come across the Whitman Bridge at 5:15. I roll up the link, and there are people tailgating 14 hours before the game, Mike Gill.
You wouldn't have it any other way, right? And, Sal Pal, it's Eagles-Cowboys. Do we like an Eagles-Cowboys opening week, though? Do we like a Game 1 Eagle-Cowboy? Do you want this a little deeper in the season?
I do. I like it because you never know when Dak Prescott's going to get injured. So you might as well get them at their best, and then there's no excuses. I mean, the funny thing is they're all lamenting that Micah Parsons was traded and it's a different game. With Micah Parsons last year, the Eagles beat the Cowboys 75-13 in 2 games. So what do you – I mean, I don't know. The Cowboys always come up with some kind of excuse for losing to this football team, but they have Dak Prescott. And, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens are 2 good wide receivers, and the Eagles secondary is still in flux. A few minutes ago, you probably saw the news. You probably already reported it, but the Eagles are elevating 2 defensive players off the practice squad, making them active for tonight. Marcus Epps, the safety, and Patrick Johnson, the outside linebacker, which means they still don't really have the right combination at safety. And they really are worried about their depth at pass rush.
Let's get into that safety spot tonight because you're right. I saw the Marcus Epps, and we talked about it, the fact that it looks like Sidney Brown's going to start there tonight, and maybe Makuba will be mixed in there. They now have Epps up there just in case. But you got a matchup tonight against Dallas where I would imagine, Sal, if we were to say, what's the one thing Dallas will do well? They got George Pickens. They got CeeDee Lamb. They got Jake Ferguson. This team has some weapons in the pass game. Will that be a concern for this new-look secondary tonight?
I do, and I'm watching some highlights of the Dallas Cowboys last year. And, they do a lot with CeeDee Lamb. They put him in motion. They put him in the slot. They'll do a jet sweep. They'll do a toss reverse. CeeDee Lamb is an important featured part of this offense. And if you go back to last year when Cooper DeJean was on Jamar Chase in that Cincinnati game and how he shadowed Jamar Chase, I think you'll see a lot of Cooper DeJean on CeeDee Lamb tonight. I really do, especially when he's in the slot or motioning from one side to the other. And then you'll have Quinyon Mitchell on George Pickens, and that'll be a mismatch. I think Quinyon Mitchell is a much better player.
Do you look at the Eagles' pass rush as an issue, a problem, or not a big a concern? You got 2 obviously young guys that they're handing the keys to the car this season.
Well, Michael, our colleague at ESPN, Adam Schefter, reported that the Eagles made a run at Micah Parsons trying to trade for him. So, first of all, Adam Schefter's reporting is impeccable. So the story's got to be right and true. What does that suggest? Now, the Cowboys were never going to trade Micah Parsons within the division.
Right.
Obviously, trading him within the conference to a team like the Packers was not as wise as Jerry Jones thinks it is. In my view, I disagree with him. But they weren't going to trade him within the division to the biggest division rival, their biggest rival, and that is the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know what Howie Roseman offered, but you have to imagine that it was commensurate to what the Packers offered, a player, high-caliber player, and several first-round picks. But it also suggests that what? The Eagles are not satisfied with their current pass rushers with Sweat and Milton Williams gone, and Jalix Hunt and Nolan Smith and the rest of these guys filling in. So it's an issue.
Right. And if they struggle against this Dallas line, does that start to put up some more red flags? I mean, this Dallas line has had some issues over the years. I know they've tried to improve it through the draft. We'll see. But if we look back at the end of this night and say, man, they couldn't get a lot of pass rush against this Dallas line, does that heighten the problem?
Well, Michael, it starts from the inside out. So Fangio had one of the lowest blitz percentages in the league last year. It's a blitzing league, except in Philly. And they still got sufficient pass rush, and they got superior pass rush in the Super Bowl, primarily because of Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. And I think Moro Ajomo is going to be as good as Jordan Davis, not as good as Jalen Carter, because I think Carter's one of the top 3 defensive players in the league. Yeah, I just said that. I think Jalen Carter is one of the top 3 defensive players in this league. In fact, I think the Eagles have 2 of the top 5 in Mitchell and Carter. And maybe if you could put Cooper DeJean in that conversation for sure. I think they have 3 of the top 10 defensive players in the league.
And by the way, Zach Bond was in that conversation last year as well.
You are correct. So you add Zach Bond, and I do believe all of them were in the top 30 or 40 of NFL players voted by their peers. So, they have personnel, and they're on a track to be a good defense because of those guys. Because you have to game plan for Jalen Carter. You have to game plan for Cooper DeJean. I mean, he lines up all over the place and wreaks havoc. You have to game plan for Zach Bond, So let's see how they do up the middle and how that affects the edge rush.
Sal Paolantonio is at Lincoln Financial Field. You've seen his coverage all day long on ESPN television. He's on the Sports Bash right now on 97.3 ESPN. Sal, do you think is the vibe you're getting is that Jahad Campbell will make an impact for this defense?
I think he will. They're really high on him. He's a very humble guy. He's a very hungry young guy. He's very coachable. He's obviously loved by Vic Fangio. Fangio talks about him all the time. I think he's got an incredible upside because of his speed, his tackling ability. There were a couple of real flashes that he showed during training camp. Now he's got to get out there now where things are live and make an impact. And I think he could. I really do.
All right. I want to get your take on this in terms of Saquon Barkley. Last year, over 2,000 rushing yards, about 275 receiving yards. So you're looking at about 2,300 total yards. What does he do for an encore this season?
Well, Saquon Barkley spent a lot of time consulting with a lot of different people, Hall of Famers, Edgerrin James, and others, and Tiger Woods, talking to him about what it takes to build on such a successful season and have another one and another one and another one at sustained success. And having been around Barkley his entire career, and especially this last year and this summer, it's pretty clear to me that he wants to write a big story. He wants to write the biggest of the big stories. He's talking to Hall of Famers. Why? He wants to be in a Hall of Fame. He's not content to set a single season record. He's not content to get a Super Bowl ring. He wants it plural, and he wants the rushing title over and over again. I mean, there's a reason. If you go on my Instagram, Sal Pal ESPN, there's a reason why the Bird's Eye View, which is the Eagles' official game day release, features Saquon Barkley. It doesn't feature Jalen Hurts. I mean, this team is Saquon Barkley centered, and I think this dude wants to continue to pound the rock, put up the big numbers, and get into Canton, Ohio someday.
Well, it'll be fun watching him against this Dallas defense tonight because he has had some big moments as Saquon Barkley when he has been a favorite in games. And take a look at this number here at Sal Pal. If everybody out there wants to put a couple bucks down, Barkley, as a 6-point or more favorite, has averaged 125 yards rushing per game and 6 yards a carry in 7 games when he has been a 6-point favorite or more. So sounds like he's set up for a big game tonight.
I love that one. I love that one. That is a great one.
He is set up for a big game tonight. Now, Sal Pal, you have been around this team for years. You know Nick Sirianni. You've had plenty of one-on-one interactions with him. Are you buying that he doesn't know that banner ceremony was tonight?
No, I'm not. You know, Mike, I think they should have shared the banner ceremony with the fans, had the players out there. It's done in basketball. It's done in hockey. It's been done by, and when those players get into the Ring of Honor, they all thank the fans for the support. You've heard it over and over again. It's the Eagles fans are the best football fans in America. And I have traveled this country covering the NFL for 3 decades. And it's not because I live here. It's because I see these people and what they do to support this football team. Their money, their heart, their soul, their blood, sweat, and tears. So share the banner. Share that celebration with the fans. I would have liked to see the team out there, Michael. I really would. I hope they change their mind and come out. I hope they surprised everybody and just waltz out onto the field when the banner's written.
I would imagine some of them are going to be sneaking down that tunnel and seeing and taking it all in. They deserve just to kind of get the energy of that place. Now, the fans also deserve Sal Pal Friday. They'll get that tomorrow at 5 o'clock when we look back at this game. But the fans also deserve your keys to the game tonight. So Johnny G and the Griner team at Burger Realty, let's get the Sal Pal keys to the game in week number 1.
I'll throw the ball early and often. Get up on this Cowboys defense. Make Dallas play from behind, and then bring the hammer down in the fourth quarter. Number 2, it's always the case. Get those rushing attempts up. The Eagles led the NFL in rushing attempts. The 5 teams that had over 500 rushing attempts last year made the playoffs. Eagles led the league in that category, and they won the Super Bowl. Rushing attempts, in my view, has to be north of 30 tonight. Over 30 rushing attempts combined by Jalen Hurts and the running backs. And then number 3, don't give up the big play. And this will be the hard one. You don't know who's playing safety beyond Reed Blankenship, and you got 2 home run hitters in Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. So that's the keys to my game. The number kept going up and up and up, I think it went all the way to 9, Mike. When Micah Parsons was traded, it went to 8, 8.5, 9. Now it's kind of settled in around 8.5. I think the Eagles will cover, and they'll win this game 31-21.
31-21. I got another quick number for you, Sal Pal. Dak Prescott, when he's in the lineup as a dog, 0-8 since 2022 as a dog of more than 2 points or more. They're an 8.5-point dog tonight. Kind of screams an Eagle win against the spread. Cowboys 0-8 against the number when they have been more than a 2-point dog. They have not been able to step up. 8.5. Sal Pal likes the Eagles tonight, 31-22. And, of course, you can listen to that game right here on 97.3 ESPN. You can listen to Sal Pal Fridays tomorrow at 5 o'clock. You can watch Sal Pal's coverage on ESPN television tonight. Sal, thank you, my man.
You brought the numbers today, Mike Gill.
We'll see if they all hold true, all right?
All right, see ya.
See ya. Sal Paolantonio, everybody, here on the Sports Bash live on 97.3 ESPN. And, of course, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Download the app in the Apple Store, Google Play. And, of course, if you're watching the show live on the X platform, YouTube, at Mike Gill Show, it looks like, by the way, from the viewership numbers today, PG, we have people that are excited for the season. I mean, these numbers are skyrocketing here today.
It's been a long time, man, since we've had football.
It has been a long time.
Football.
We had draft. I mean, come on, a little draft. Not the same. Not the same. Not the same. All right, 609-403-0973. Got a couple minutes, Josh. We have some text messages we should hit on. By the way, Phillies are in the fourth. It's 0-0.
They did leave the bases loaded just last inning. Peralta strikes out the side.
Peralta struck out the side. Phillies 0-0, and it's Ranger Suarez for the Phillies today. So, all right, Josh, we got some text messages we should hit on. I know, by the way, I do want to read the one text from Terry in Galloway. He said he went out and bought Milwaukee's best light for the game. He says he's regretting that decision.
He's going to switch. He's going to make the switch.
I don't know if he's making the switch. He just said he's regretting that decision that he is going. Let me
maybe mix in some water.
He said, Mike, I tried to save a few bucks by going with the old Milwaukee light, and it was a mistake. I can admit that.
Well, that's what happens when you make decisions in haste and not thinking ahead.
I have a feeling though that he might need to tush push his new sponsor tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
That might be true. Yes.
You drink the Milwaukee's best light. You're probably going to need the dude wipe after.
I can't say I've ever even drank that beer before. So have you?
Probably in college. I probably had one. But
that seems like a college beer. Yeah.
I can imagine poor Terry and Galloway there with the Milwaukee's best 30 pack for the game tonight.
Yeah. Earlier in the show, I said 22. I'm going to subtract about 10 of that.
That's a dreadful decision. Jeez. But yeah, use the dude wipe, man. Get the dude wipe for Terry Galloway.
A couple of texts we want to get to here. James from Delaware says, who is worse after their injuries? Is it Nola now, Carson Wentz, Ben Simmons, or Joel Embiid?
Ooh. Ben Simmons is of that group. Who was it? Nola, Ben Simmons,
Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz is pretty bad, but he did get them to the playoffs in 19.
Yeah, the 19, he actually had a really good year, but then after the concussion he sustained in the playoff game, maybe you could say that doomed him.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like both Ben and Wentz are very similar. That the injuries just crippled their,
accumulated, right?
I always said about Carson, just the accumulation of injuries. He had the back and then the ribs and the knee, and he just couldn't overcome them.
Right.
And Ben's very, Ben had this back injury that I just never think he is not. And then not to mention he's had the mental depression stuff and mental health stuff that, there's nothing that you can really do to kind of get past that, in terms, unless you're willing to kind of work on it. And I don't know what Ben's done to, apparently there's some reports he's thinking about retiring.
Well, considering Amari Cooper just retired, maybe there's a retirement place for all these athletes who retired very young to go to at this point. Now, I'm going to read the text, but I'm not going to read the whole description of the guy who's texting. We'll say his name is Joe, okay?
Wait, can I just read a text real quick?
Yes.
Just to give the guy a shout out. There is a guy named Mick. He is going to his 300th consecutive game tonight for the Eagles.
Wow.
At Lincoln Financial Field. It is Mick's 300th consecutive game. Mick McGonigal from Avalon. His first game was in 1987 against the Saints, and his playoff record is 15-7. His all-time record is 186 and 113. He has gone to games with 8 U.S. presidents, head coaches, 7 U.S. presidents, 3 kids, and he says 1 understanding wife.
That's a very understanding wife.
Congratulations. He should be on the field at halftime getting honored.
Yeah, 300 games. Mick McGonigal from Avalon. Okay, what else you got there, Josh?
Yeah, let's squeeze a couple texts before we get out of here at 609-403-0973. You still have Casey Joyner, the football scientist, coming up, Mike. Joe chimes in and says, the Eagles had their glory last year with a tough schedule. They will go 9-8 this year. Everyone in the division is healthier and got better than last year. I'm not fully sure he knows what division he's talking about, but that's from Joe.
Well, I mean, Washington got better. There's no question about that. I think he's right. Dallas is healthy. That's one of the reasons why they should be better. And I think the Giants are clearly better than last year. You don't agree with what Joe said?
He's saying everyone's better and healthier. I don't think the Cowboys are better than they were last year. I think Washington is better.
I would say they're healthy. He said better and healthier.
Right.
I think Washington's better. I think the Giants are better, and I think the Cowboys are healthier. I don't know that they're better, but they're healthier.
Cowboys are not better. You lost Micah Parsons, for goodness sake.
What?
Come on.
They lost Micah Parsons, but they gained Dak Prescott. They gained I read off earlier in the show today. They had Trevon Diggs. He was out the whole season. At the end of the year, I read the list of guys who didn't play. CeeDee Lamb, Bland, half their offensive line, most of their defensive front. I mean, yes, they lost Parsons, but they had a ton of injuries last year. I've given that guy Joe. He's right. You're wrong.
Fine. Finally, Jeff from Summers Point says, just got home from work, took a PTO day tomorrow. I don't even plan on going anywhere. Pizza, beer, and friends. Hanging out at my place this evening. Cracking my first Bud Light open right now, he says.
Wow. What time was that text?
That was about an hour ago. So he
You got this one. Long-time listener, first-time text. I think the Cowboys will be a formidable and a hard out, but finishing maybe in third place depends on the health of Philly and Washington through the season. If either team has a key injury, Dallas could sneak in. If Dak goes down, easy last place, no shot. All right, I like the first-time texter. By the way, I got a pizza for the game tonight, PG.
I heard.
Going pizza.
You going beer too?
Might have one. I got the seed.
It's a school night.
I got the seed at my house.
I understand it's a school night.
Yeah, I'm not a big have a beer at my house during the game guy.
Yeah,
especially on a Thursday night football. But I did go pizza for the game tonight. First game, going pizza. That's the game day meal today. Pizza. Got people who have been texting in their setups, by the way. Keep those coming. Vote. What are you doing for the game tonight? Going out, watching at home, going to the game, going to a friend's house. Coming up on the other side, one thought every game. Casey Joyner. That's next. All right, 5:30 on a Thursday night. Not a normal Thursday night. It's Eagle game night Thursday night, and we're getting ready to give you one thought every game as we do every year with Casey Joyner. He's brought to you by BMW of Atlantic City. Your luxury BMW experience is closer than you think. Take advantage of exceptional savings and experience luxury today at BMW Atlantic City and Egg Harbor Township. We are in Atlantic City at Chickie's and Pete's. Phillies 0-0, by the way, against the Brewers. We're keeping an eye on that game. And, of course, one thought every game. We are checking in on the Eagles as they get ready to take on the Cowboys. And we're looking at all the matchups you need for tonight's game. And one thought on every game. Casey Joyner from The Athletic is back. And you are turbocharged this year over at The Athletic. Tell everybody what you'll be doing for The Athletic this season as we give everybody one thought every game. Welcome back, my friend.
Great to be here. Got a lot of stuff going at The Athletic this year. We're going to be, as you said, a supercharged schedule. I'll summarize it this way. Monday morning, I've been doing the Fantasy Football Review article every year for the past few years. That article series continues. We're good there. Tuesday, I'm going to have a matchups article. It takes a look at the most favorable, least favorable matchups. That article has already been posted this week. Week 3 is going to be, and this is one I'm really having fun with, a confidence picks article. I'm going to have confidence picks both straight up and against the spread for every week. We're going to cut some back. Some of those notes are going to be covered. That's what we'll cover during this One Thought Every Game series. So you can find that as well at The Athletic. And I'm also doing a Discord chat room. Every primetime game, you can stop in for Discord chat room. That Discord chat room is available to everybody. You don't have to be an Athletic subscriber. So you can stop by my social media feeds and find the link to it and such, and stop by and talk fantasy football with me or during the week with me or anybody else at The Athletic. So tons of stuff going on.
That is really cool. That is an awesome opportunity. Casey Joyner, TFS on social media if you want to follow him on the X platform. And, of course, for one thought every game, he'll be on Tuesdays and Thursdays again this year. We'll preview all the games, then review all the games on Tuesdays. Let's get into it. The Eagles and the Cowboys, this matchup here. Let's start with no Micah Parsons and how that changes the Dallas defense and how it affects them in a game like this tonight against the Philly offense.
I tell you, this is going to sound crazy. When it comes to stopping the run, if you're the Eagles, you kind of wish he was still there. I was breaking down a Baltimore game last year, a Baltimore-Dallas game, and there were times when Baltimore was running split zone triple, different types of things of that nature where Parsons just a read guy at the end of the line of scrimmage, and he would do what he shouldn't do. He'd make big mistakes, and it led to big plays. So from that perspective, it might not be as beneficial. From a pass rush perspective, glad he's not there. And netting that out, it might be good for the Eagles because the Eagles have a very favorable pass coverage schedule this year. So much so, they're not going to go pass heavy. But Sirianni, former wide receiver, he wants to be able to throw the football more. I think he's going to do that more this year, and I think it's going to start tonight. Again, not pass heavy, just maybe 40 or 50 more passes this year than last year, and not having Parsons on the field when you're trying to do that, that's probably a plus.
Okay, so if Philadelphia is attacking somewhere on the defense here, you've got Bland back, you've got Teron Diggs back. They look like they're pretty strong there. Where is the spot that you're going after with Brown and Smith and Goddard? And, that guy named Barkley.
Yeah, I'm going Barkley. The defense last year, I mentioned Parsons' mistakes. They made a lot of mistakes. Dallas you've got to be very structurally sound if you're going to stop the ground game, and Dallas just wasn't last year. And again, they might be this year. It's possible. Again, we're going on last year's numbers, and last year we're much in trying to project it forward, but they just weren't very good in that area. And I think the Eagles, if they're going to if they're going to go bark and charm on the ball, I think they may want to incorporate some things with Hurts, even though you don't have Parsons there as a subpar read player. I think you're still going to put some things in there to attack them in that sense, because if you can get Dallas to have to defend the entire thing, you got to defend interior, off tackle, and perimeter. If you got to attack all three areas, if you can threaten that, I think it's going to open up some big plays. So that's where I want to go in the ground game. In the passing game, I still want to go after Bland, because as good as he is, he didn't have any receptions last year. And if he's a guy who's not going to get picks, I still want to be throwing him, because his coverage metrics are good, but not great.
Okay, so Dallas is a team that Jerry Jones said it. We need to stop the run better. That's why we had to trade Micah Parsons. But without Micah, no, that's not the only reason, but he did say we need to stop the run better so we can get the ball back over to our offense. But do they have pass rush? Is this a team without Micah Parsons that will be able to get pressure, or should the Eagles have plenty of time to throw the ball down the field?
And I mean, if you're trying to stop the run, I mean, Parsons, again, he's not a great run stopper. And they've got a defensive tackle that to help them with that. But their issue isn't personnel and stop the run. Their issue is, is structural. They just they're not where they're supposed to be when they're trying to stop the run. That happens too often. As far as rushing a passer, yeah, again, I've got them rated for a pass rush grade. I got them rated as a yellow pass rush grade. I still got them rated as a red pass rush grade, which means it's an unfavorable matchup. So the Eagles, again, you're going to want to run the football, but that's part of what you want to do. You're wanting to run the ball and make those linemen have to think about whether or not they're pass rushing or not. You're wanting to do some play actions in this. So I would like, if I'm thinking of what the Eagles want to do, you want to do some play actions to try and hold that pass rush up and make that defense think about that run. But again, attack them in all different ways, because if you're attacking them in all different ways and you're throwing that play action, I think it's the kind of thing that can keep the pass rusher getting after them. So still heavy run lean, but I won't be surprised to see Hurts push towards 30 passes if the defense responds in the way the Eagles expect them to.
All right, we're doing one thought every game. We're taking a little closer look at the Eagles and Cowboys tonight. Let's look at the Eagles' new look defense. They no longer have Milton Williams. They no longer have Josh Sweat. They no longer have Darius Slay. They no longer have Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Let's start up front. Jalix Hunt, Nolan Smith. We got Moro Ojomo replacing Milton Williams in there. You got Jalen Carter, of course, still. What does this pass rush look like tonight?
That's a huge question mark. I mentioned that pass rush grade. I've got the Eagles with the yellow pass rush grade, which is a medium. Now, green is favorable for the offense, yellow is okay, and red is unfavorable for the offense, or favorable for the defense. So I've got them graded in that sense. It's one of those things where I think they're going to start learning what kind of pass rush they're, because their Cowboys are not a great pass blocking team, so I think they could get some things. But when you've got a secondary that has as many red-rated players, as we talked over the years, red-rated players are people who can be potentially shut down in coverage. The Eagles have 4 out of 5 of their secondary players are red-rated. I think it allows you to take some chances and do some things in your pass rush, maybe not blitz, but do some things in your pass rush that you might not otherwise do. So I think it's going to be a work in progress. I'd be surprised to see a lot of sacks or anything today, but I think the Eagles are going to try and go, hey, you want to throw against us, we're going to be aggressive with their defensive line, because we think we can still, we've got great receivers, but we think we've got good enough coverage to where we can limit the big plays, and you're going to have to face our pass rush. And they're going to, like I said, work in progress, but I think they'll be solid. I'm looking for 3 sacks now. If they get 2, I'd be happy.
All right, well, the matchup that everybody's kind of looking at here anyway is you got Adoree Jackson replacing Darius Slay. You've got rookies, Andrew Makuba. Sidney Brown, not a rookie, but hasn't played all that much. They did activate Marcus Epps. He is active tonight against George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. I mean, is that a matchup that Dallas can exploit?
I've been telling fantasy managers that they should play CeeDee Lamb because he's always a must-start guy, but I've been telling people, I did the article that Siri mentioned there about fantasy players, and said that if you've got Dak Prescott, and I've been telling people you get George Pickens, I don't want to start those guys because, again, you're talking 4 red-rated players. I think the Cowboys will still get some things going in the passing game, but the Eagles last year, and what I'm grading them coming in this year, they've got 2 red-rated players at safety. When you've got red-rated safeties, that means the defense is just not going to be able to get too much to the tight end, not going to be able to get too much in vertical passing. And I don't think the Cowboys run game, by the way, I know we'll talk about that in a second, but the Cowboys run game is just, if you're the Eagles, fine, try and beat with Javonte Williams, try and beat with Jadon Blue, Miles Sanders. Go ahead, run the ball 25 times to those guys if you want to, what Schottenheimer may want to do. We think we can stop you up front, and we're built, their defense is built, by the way, that they don't need to stop the run by bringing the safety down. They can just sit back and think. So if I'm the Eagles, I'm saying, look, you're throwing to the doubles a heck of a lot. If you want to throw to Pickens and Lamb, you're going to have to go somewhere else. And if I'm the Cowboys, I might try and take the Eagles up on that offer.
All right, you mentioned it, the run game. Philly, can they just, not worry about the run game and just go all out for the pass tonight?
I think what it is, the Eagles are very good at finding ways. They can stop the run without the safety, and there's things you have to do structurally on defense to be able to do that, and they're very, very, very good at this. This is something they excel in. They're designed to play that way, and as good as the Cowboys' running game is, I just don't think, or as good as committed as the Cowboys are to the running game. We don't know how good the running game is going to be. I still wonder if they're going to be able to get a lot done, because if you're going against the Eagles, and I think the Eagles can put up a lot of points this game, you're the Cowboys, you got to go into that sort of mode. So if you're Schottenheimer, in fact, I talked about it in my Confidence Pick article, I don't know what the Cowboys want to be. you got a run first coach. You've got a bunch of running backs. You've got good receivers, but you're a run first coach. And if you're in this matchup, maybe you should run the ball if you don't like the pass matchup. We're going to find out a lot about what Brian Schottenheimer wants to be, because I think he wants to run the ball. But even his running backs, Javonte Williams just a couple of days ago said, I have no idea what kind of workload we're going to get. His backs don't even know what the work division is going to be. If that's the case, it's the Cowboys work in progress, and you don't want to be in a work in progress against the defending Super Bowl champions.
Casey Joyner from The Athletic, one thought every game. We'll get his pick on Eagles-Cowboys at the end. But first, let's get into one thought every game. It starts tomorrow night, Friday Night Football on YouTube, by the way. Free to everybody to watch on YouTube. It's Kansas City and the Chargers. Obviously, the last time we saw the Chiefs, they looked very porous defensively. It's a very good Charger defense.
It is. Jesse Minter's very good. I'm a Michigan man, so remember him back in the day at Go Blue. Mahomes, by the way, terrible season last year, vertical passing, 27 vertical points per game, 28th in stretch vertical. They're wanting to fix that, but they think about going to Xavier Worthy. They're telling me Xavier Worthy's 165 pounds. He's their best short pass catcher. He's their best red zone catcher. He does certain things. He can't fix their problem, and I just don't know how Hollywood Brown can either. And I like what the Chargers have. I like what McConkey. Allen's a good player. I like their defense. I think it's going to be a close game, but I'm actually picking the Chargers in this one because I just think the Chiefs' passing woes, I don't think they're solved yet. And until they do, I think they might not be able to keep up with the Chargers. I'm taking L.A.
They are a 3-point dog at home, by the way. The Chargers are against the Chiefs. Let's go to Tampa and Atlanta. This is a big division game out of the chute here. Tampa's won, I think, 5 straight years in the South. Atlanta, new quarterback, and a lot of weapons.
They do. Tampa's got some problems, though. Godwin's not there. McMillan's not there. They've got Cade Otton's dealing with an injury. So you got Evans, who barely made 1,000 last year, and you got the rookie, Mabuka. He's good, but rookie. And he's got a good matchup. I think, okay, he might do well there, but, boy, that's tough. And the Bucs secondary, I still have them rated with green rated players across the board. You're facing Drake London, Bijan Robinson. I mean, I think you just got I think the Falcons have a lot of fireworks, a lot of potential to put up points. So I think they'll be able to turn this into something of a shootout, and I've got them pulling the upset.
All right, Bengals-Browns, another division rival. Cincinnati favored by 5.5 on the road. Joe Flacco, last time we saw him, they were in the playoffs.
Yeah, and, hey, Flacco can do certain things. The Browns have a problem, though. They passed more than any team in the league, and they were 28th in rushes. I mean, it was exactly opposite of what Stefanski wants to do with his offense. And I think they're going to try and get back to run heavy. They've got some backs that might be able to do it. But, look, the Bengals are committed. Joe Burrow was so mad last year, in part because they got off to another slow start. Twice been playing in the preseason, and I think they're going to get out to a really good start. I think they're going to aim to get out to a really good start, be as aggressive as possible. I love the matchup against the Browns secondary, so I'm taking the Bengals this one.
All right, one thought every game. Casey Joyner from The Athletic. Let's go. Another division game. Dolphins-Colts. Indy favored 1.5 here, but Daniel Jones at quarterback for the Colts, and Miami looks like hot seat city.
Yeah, they do. And Miami, it's Tyreek Hill, 31, did quite as well last year. He did okay, but McDaniel scaled things back in the offense because trying to keep Tua healthy, and you don't do so much to keep Tua healthy. I think it's why they did that. And if you're going to go drop him back, okay, is Tua going to get hurt? But you got to play for your job and all this stuff. It's all kinds of question marks. The Colts have question marks too, but they also could just say, hey, we're going to hand the ball off to Jonathan Taylor. I think the Dolphins can do that too, but Achane's hurt. When I look at a situation like this, I'm like, I'm not sure where either team is. And when I got that kind of approach, typically take the home team. So I'm taking Indy.
All right, one thought every game. Let's go to Raiders and Patriots. The Patriots are favored by 2.5. The Patriots here, obviously, Drake May. They made a lot of money in the offseason. They spent big bucks on Milton Williams. Pete Carroll is now in Vegas.
He is, and both teams are good running backs. I mean, the idea that Henderson and Stevenson looks like they're going to be a platoon split, but I'm like, okay, dude, if Henderson does well at all, he's going to immediately become the lead back up there. He's really good. But Genty, he could be high praise here, and I don't want to be held to this that he's going to do this. There's a path for him to be the next Barry Sanders. He could be that good. And this is a highly favorable matchup. In fact, he's got a highly favorable matchup for the first 6 weeks of the season. I think he'll get out to a fantastic start. Would be shocked if he didn't be, he has offensive rookie year wrapped up by week 8. So I like that. And I think you add that to some of the big play passing stuff that they have there. And I just don't have as much confidence in the Patriots offense, the Patriots passing game. I'm going to take the Raiders for the upset.
All right, one thought every game. Cardinals, Saints, two teams with not a lot of expectations, especially the Saints, who are a 6.5-point dog at home. You don't see them be a big dog at home too often, but Spencer Rattler getting the call to start things off there. Big year for Kyler Murray. Let's see.
Yeah, he needs to step up. Kyler Murray needs to fix one area. He was last in vertical points per game in fantasy football in 2022 and 2023. And I use fantasy football because it's a good barometer for what your success is. If you're doing bad there, believe me, you're probably doing bad overall. So he's worst in those two categories there in those 2 years. Should have improved last year with Marvin Harrison Jr. He only moved up to 26th. He's still terrible in that area. Now, having said that, Arizona's got Murray, Harrison, Connor, McBride. They've got big players. I mean, New Orleans has Kamara, but and they got Olave, but again, it's Spencer Rattler, so I got to take Arizona on this one.
Yeah, sadly, I have Kyler Murray as my fantasy quarterback this year right now. All right, Steelers, Jets. Fields against the Steelers. Rodgers against the Jets. This one sounds fun.
It does. Rodgers can still throw the ball deep. He was 9th in stretch vertical points per game last year, and you got DK Metcalf. So, all right, you can do some things there. Jonathan Smith and Pat Fryermuth, I mean, Arthur Smith, he loves 12 personnel, so that's perfect for his playbook. And they've got a good gigs of good backfield with Johnson and Warren, although, again, Johnson's got to prove he can pass block. The minute he lets Rodgers get sacked, Rodgers is going to be you're out and Warren's in. So you'll be careful there. The Jets know what they want to be. They want to, they want to have a backfield like Gibbs and Montgomery. They've got Hall and Allard, and they've got a top 10 receiver in Wilson. But Fields is just terrible on vertical passes. And if I could pick two teams that both have similar mindsets, but one can throw vertical and the other can't, I'll take the team that can throw vertical. So I'll take Pittsburgh.
All right, one thought every game. Let's go to the division. Giants, Commanders, Washington 6.5. Older team, but they did add talent. The Giants' defense feels like they're going to be a pain in the butt to play this year.
They do, and that's a wild card here, in that they could be that good. Does it come out? You get there right off the bat, or does it take a few weeks to get to speed? Don't know. I do. Jaden Daniels, great last year, but Washington has emphasized, they've made it very clear, we think he could do so much more. And it's like, wow, the guy was back there last year, and you think he could be even better. They got McLaurin back. They got Deebo Samuel. They got Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, the guy known as Bill. He's done so well that don't think the Commanders train Brian Robinson unless they think Krosky-Merritt can be the guy. And I think he's been flying up ADPs in fantasy, so I think he's going to do quite well. And look, Russell Wilson can still throw deep. Malik Neighbors is good, but it's still just a really tough matchup. I got to take the Commanders in this one.
All right, one thought every game. Let's go to Titans, Broncos. Broncos, a lot of people love this defense. Cam Ward will make his debut.
Yeah, Broncos, I've got them as a Super Bowl sleeper. They're probably the best defense in the league. If not, it's top 3 defense. They're easily the best defense in fantasy football, no doubt. 61.5 to 63 sacks they're returning this year. They get R.J. Harvey. They've got some really good receivers. Won't be surprised if Marvin Mims has a breakout season. And Ward, again, he's good, but they don't have enough talent around him, and the Broncos are on the ascension, so I'm taking Denver.
All right, one thought every game. Lions, Packers, Pack 1.5. Micah Parsons looks like he wants to play. We'll find out. This could be for supremacy in the NFC North right off the bat.
You could probably put Parsons in. It would be surprised to be able to see him say, look, just rush the passer on this play. Just don't put him in there against running plays. He should be okay. Lions are going to go a lot more to Jameson Williams this year. He was one of only 3 receivers with 75 or more targets to get 10 or more yards per target, so he's really good. Mind you, the Packers have Adam Golden and Jordan Love's going to be healthy this year. So it's one of those situations where I'm probably going to pick Green Bay to win this one. I think it's going to be a shootout, and I'm probably going to pick Green Bay to win, but it's going to be where their defenses are, and it's really hard to get a gauge on that. So it's kind of like I'm picking Green Bay at home, and that's probably about the only reason.
Yeah, no new coordinators, no Frank Ragnow for the Lions. That game should be one to watch. Couple more here real quick. Texans, Rams, both teams trying to win that division and make noise in the playoffs. The Rams are favored by 3.5.
Yeah, Rams, hey, Stafford, as long as he's healthy, and it looks like he's healthy going in, they've got Adams, they've got Nakua, and the Texans have some players too. They've got big players, and they got a pass rush. But as long as they keep Stafford protected, I think that's a great combination. I think LA wins.
Ravens, Bills, Baltimore. What a great Sunday night game to kick it all off. Baltimore favored by 1.5. A lot of people like the Bills and the Ravens to represent the AFC this year.
Yeah, you've got great teams on both sides. I just think when you're looking at it, you're looking at big playability. Flowers and Andrews, I think that's just better targets what the Bills have. I like the Bills targets, but I like the Ravens targets just a little bit more. And I like Derrick Henry a little bit more breakaway than I do Cook. Add that in there. I think it's enough to give the Ravens a win on the road. All
right, one thought every game. Vikings, Bears, Monday night. McCarthy, Ben Johnson makes his debut.
He does, and look, Caleb Williams. I know they're saying how bad he looked in preseason and all that, but he's got a ton of talent around him. I just think, I mean, O'Connell turned Sam Darnold into a Pro Bowl quarterback, and JJ McCarthy. I'm a Michigan man, so maybe I'm showing a little favoritism here, but I know how good JJ McCarthy is from having watched him in college, and look, I think he could turn McCarthy into a Pro Bowl quarterback, maybe not eventually, but soon enough. When I add that to a Brian Flores defense, I think Brian Flores' defense makes all the difference. I think I'm going to take Minnesota in this one.
One thought every game: Philadelphia, Dallas. Who wins tonight and why?
Yeah, Philly and Dallas. Dallas. They don't know who they are. You don't want to start the season in an identity crisis. That's exactly where they are. They're not sure who they want to be, and Philly knows exactly what it wants to be, and it wants to add some more passing to it. So you add those factors in there. I've got the Eagles win this one comfortably.
That's one thought every game. Casey Joyner, Eagles, comfortably. We're comfortable with that as well. We'll recap all the games on Tuesday right here on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN. Thanks, Casey.
Hi, thanks, Mike.
Check out his live chat tonight and everything at The Athletic with Casey Joyner. We'll be back to wrap it all up here from Chickies and Pete's as the crowd beginning to come in. Nothing. Phillies in the 6th. And, of course, the Eagles coming up tonight. You can listen to the game on 97.3 ESPN. All right, Rapid Radio right here, Peachy, ready to go. I got
sir.
a couple things. Phillies 0-0. Ranger just got out of an inning there.
Big time.
Had some. It's 0-0. That's why Ranger has to start. He's got to pitch a game like this. You can't. The guy's got a shutout going through 6. Eagles 37, Cowboys 28 tonight. Take the over.
That's a lot of points right there.
Yep. Eagles defense, needs to find its way. I think Philly will have its way with the Dallas defense. Game balls tonight. Saquon Barkley, 135 yards rushing, 2 tutties.
Anytime touchdown for Saquon, okay.
Like it. Jalen Carter gets the game ball. He's going to have a monster night tonight. We haven't heard Jalen Carter's name like all summer long. He gets the game ball tonight.
Can we get a tush-push touchdown?
Likely
right.
tush push. By the way, lightning in the forecast up there tonight. Watch out if you're going to the banner ceremony. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Go Birds.